Kablamo. We are back with the PS5 in an interesting genre that I wanted to try in the PS4 but never ever had the chance. So, today we're going to go through this Vegas Tales. We're probably going to get through one interview and then do our selection. And if it's good enough, maybe we'll check it out and do other different routes that you could take and see the different outcomes. But when I first ran into what is it? It's called full motion video genre in video game, and they had it like way back with the Sega Saturn, and it wasn't that popular, so it didn't really take off. They had it in some type of kung fu game, and I think they had it for Power Rangers for a quick second there, but it never took off. But now they're doing a little bit more. Like there's this one called Dating Something, and it was for the PS4, and I didn't know about it. I've never seen it, so I was like, that's pretty interesting. So it was called like something Dating, and it was for the PS4, and I've never even heard of it, but I think it was like, just like an online type game. I can't even fucking find it right now. Oh, PlayStation Store? Yeah. Well, real quick, just to give you an example here. Here it is, 5 dates. And I ran into that one, I was all like, that's pretty interesting, like, just going through the conversations and seeing exactly how it is. I would think that it would be very entertaining. I haven't seen the reviews on it, but it must have not done that great. Look, I mean, the release date 11/17/2020, so maybe that's why a lot of people didn't see it, because that was the year of a whole bunch of fucked up shit going on at that time, and it still is right now. It's still all fucked up, but yeah, so this one looked actually pretty interesting. And then you have some other ones that were on the PS4, like Erica, Late Shift. There was another one here that I saw that I think I remember seeing it on Twitch. I just ran into it, and then I was asking them, what game is that? What game is that? They wouldn't answer. So I was like, oh, fuck it. And then on the bottom, they had a different title or whatnot. But let's get, so, I couldn't get the title off of that. Another good one that I'm going to be trying out is Stanley Parable. This is a remake. So this is supposed to have a good storyline. And, yeah, so, just got the PS5, going through all this stuff, had to change things around, and, seeing which games are the best, getting Control, getting Forbidden West, maybe some WWE, I'm not too sure. We already got Returnal. That's supposed to be real good. And then we got Deathloop. This was supposed to be super good. And Rec Room is pretty cool. Like, this is a free game, and it's like, you get your avatar, you go in there, you create shit with people, and you could talk to people, and you got like a whole bunch of different recreational activities that you could do. It's pretty dope. And and of course, I gotta have Siege, so but this will be a new one for me, and according to the reviews of FMV genre, it's actually kind of blossoming, if you will. It's kind of getting a little popular, and there's a need for it now. So we might see some of these games come in, and we might see a lot more of these video games, you know, being developed. And I think it may be cool. I don't know, but we'll check it out. So this dude, from what I understand, he has terminal cancer. I had accidentally went into the game and backed out. I don't even know if I could clear this, but we're just gonna go with the storyline. And pretty much, he wants to hire somebody to take over the casino. He has terminal cancer and he wants to spend time with his family. So he's asking me to interview these people, but they don't know that they're going into the interview for a position to own the casino. So let's see. So these are the people we got: Ashley, Mallory, Sarah, Becca, and Todd. We're just gonna pick it up off from the top and go with that.
Ashley is a magician. She's been holding her magic show here at the Bellflower since we added a theater during our last renovation. She's been here longer than any employee, and she's as financially tied to this place as anybody, aside from myself. She's a private person, so I don't know much about her personal life.
Okay, so we're just gonna go through the whole thing and see exactly what he could give us for each and every person. It feels a little static. I don't know if that's the right word and to describe it. Like a little, you know, little like not as fluid. But I was thinking the interface would be just a little better, you know. But let's see. I'm trying to make sure that I'm actually coming out on the yeah. Okay, so everything's good on that side with the audio. I was just making sure. So let's go with Mallory.
Mallory is
Mallory.
the luckiest person I've
Damn,
ever
I
met.
fucked her name up bad.
She's also one of the nicest. I've never seen so much tragedy befall such an undeserving person. I unfairly gave her a hard time when we first met, but we get along well now. I gave her a complimentary stay here at the hotel to apologize, and she wouldn't stop talking about how much she loved it here. I think she might even like my hotel more than I do. Like the others on my list, I don't know very much about her.
So this guy don't know shit. Gotta know something, right? Damn. Alright. Sarah or Becca and Todd.
Sarah is the daughter of the Goodley family. She's been staying here with her parents on family vacations for years. That family is so wholesome that they make the Brady Bunch seem edgy. They're a welcome breath of fresh air here in Las Vegas, and I love the idea of someone with very strong moral values like Sarah taking over the hotel.
So, you know what I'm thinking? Is that I gotta make a couple of notes. Sarah, okay, I'm gonna do it on my phone. Fuck it. I got the Samsung Note here. So might as well put the note feature into use, right? Okay, Samsung Note, new note. Okay, so Sarah, he was saying that she has what do you say? Morals, values, which is a good thing. Like, you know, you don't get that a lot with a lot of people, and that's one of the biggest reasons why, you know, everything is so fucked up, like we were mentioning about earlier. Okay, so let's go to Becca and Todd.
I barely know anything about those two. Their names are Becca and Todd. I met them today when they were checking in. They came to Las Vegas to get married, and this trip is also doubling as their honeymoon. Yeah, I know it must seem odd to consider leaving my estate to a couple I barely know, but honestly, I barely know any of the people I'm considering. I figure that if they're staying here for their wedding and their honeymoon, then they're going to have a very strong emotional connection to the Bellflower Hotel. Plus, it almost seems like fate that they happened to check in today while I'm trying to make this decision. I'm counting on you to ascertain whether or not they're good people worthy of consideration as heirs.
No, that's stupid. Just because they're getting married at your hotel doesn't mean that they're going to have some type of emotional value to the fucking hotel. Anybody that gets married in Vegas to begin with get divorced within 5 years anyway. So, and I think that's a statistical fact. Don't quote me on that, but look it up and you'll probably blow your head off looking at that statistical numbers out there about that. But no, that's not a reason to trust them. Gotta think logically here, not emotional. You should speak to someone else. Oh, okay. So let's go to damn. Look at Ashley. She looks pissed off already. We haven't even talked, bitch. Why are you mad? Damn. So tell me about yourself. Like she doesn't smoke the never trust the who? Oh hell no. Never
I'm
trust the living?
I live here in Las Vegas. I spend most of my time practicing magic, and I am single. What else do you want to know?
Come on, they can't make it that easy, right? She's done. She's done. She is done. So, okay, let's go to the bell floor. Okay, what do I want to know? Single. You know, in interviews, they actually ask you sometimes, like, oh, what do you think about your life, or, you know, single or married and stuff like that, or what happened, or, you know, and it plays a very big factor, you know. Let's go with why is she single. I mean, you see that she has trust issues, right?
I'm not great at dating. It's probably because I really don't enjoy getting to know people. That's why I think that dinner and a movie is the perfect first date. You have just enough time to exchange facts about each other, and then the food comes, and you can't talk because your mouth is full. Then you go sit in a dark movie theater, where talking is frowned on, and you watch a movie. It's great. Especially if you're with one of those people who insists on talking all the time. I'm great at breakups, though. Yeah, not very good at dating. I've tried dating apps, but I haven't found any that I really like.
I don't know. I do know one thing, is that this girl is gone. She's gone. Should we continue with the other questions? I think I'm going to go with one more question because she's already done. The Bellflower, should we talk about the hotel? Insist on talking, practicing magic? Nah, fuck that. You already said you practice magic. I don't even know why. I don't even want to ask why you practice it. You're done. Great at breakups? Yeah, that's just a stupid comment. Why would you even say that? Let's see what she will say about the hotel.
I've been performing my magic act here since the last time it was renovated. Huh. Never heard of the place before that. I like it here. I like Mr. Davenport, too. He's very hands-off. I appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to give me input about my show.
So when she said magic, she meant magic tricks. Not magic like black magic. I don't know. See, I fucked up. I immediately thought she was doing black magic. Now I want to ask her practicing magic question.
When you're part of a magic show, you spend countless hours practicing. We only perform 4 nights a week, so it would seem like it's an easy schedule, but we spend maybe another 30 hours practicing. More if you're bringing someone new into the show. It's a lot.
Okay. She mentioned a dude. So we know that she does magic, like within that hotel, I guess. And then she mentioned Davenport. Let's see what Davenport has to say. Let's turn on this light a little brighter. There we go. Ooh, perfect. All right. Let's go to Mr. Davenport.
The problem most people make when they're breaking up with someone is that they try to be too nice. And that's very selfish. Not the good kind of selfishness either. When you're too nice with someone and you're breaking up with them, it makes them sad. It makes them wish that you weren't leaving. It makes them think that maybe they should stay with you. When you're breaking up with someone, it is the one time of your life that you should be a complete asshole so that they actually feel relieved. They feel like a burden has been lifted. Yeah, you should always be an asshole when you're breaking up with someone. That's why I'm very good at it.
Well, I understand her honesty. You know, can't hate on that. Good selfishness. I think we didn't do the Davenport. Did I pick the wrong one? I think I did.
I haven't really talked to him that much. We talked a little bit when this place was being renovated. My magic act was becoming popular, and I was looking for a place to take up residency, and he was looking for an act to host in his arena. It worked out great. We've really only spoken a few times since then, usually about business. I guess you could say he's one of my best friends.
Interesting. Best friends ends up turning lovers. Not too much. You get the no-go zone with friends like that. Or what do you call it? The friend zone, right? Best friends, yeah, you see? That question. Best friends, what the hell do you mean by best friends?
I don't like interacting with people unless there's a purpose. I would say I'm a people person, but I grow weary of them quickly if they overstay their welcome or talk. I prefer quiet types who show who they are by their actions. You know, a lot of people will have shallow, fake friends who will tell you all about their day, but they'll never lift a finger if you need to move or get rid of a body. I really don't like people like that.
Or get rid of a body, damn. So this girl's pretty much crazy. I don't think, like, no. We're going to go to the next one. I'm not going to waste my time with all these other questions. Get rid of a body. You see, I could even ask that. And you know what? I am. You know what? Just because that came up.
I've never had to get rid of a body. But if I did, I wouldn't be stupid about it. You know, everybody just tries to bury the body or throw it in a river with something heavy on it, trying to keep the cops from finding it. The cops are going to find the body. But if I was going to get rid of the body, I would throw it in the river with a bungee cord harness attached to it, and then I wouldn't attach the other end to anything. So when the cops found the body, as they're going to, they wouldn't assume it was murder. They would just assume it was someone stupid who deserved to die. I mean, people win Darwin Awards every day. Why not take advantage of it?
That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Now, I'm actually interested in going to these other interviewees. I already get where she's coming from. And I do believe she probably buried a body or set up or staged a murder. So let's go to Mallory. I totally butchered her name earlier. And from that face, she looks like super worried. And then after that, we got Sarah Goodley. They look like that Mormon type family, possibly incest. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. And then that one looks like I'm not gonna say it. Let's go with Mallory. Tell me about yourself.
What is there to say? I guess I'm a little bit down on my luck right now, between jobs. I had 2 job interviews earlier this week, and I'm hoping to have more soon. I don't like to admit this usually, but it might be important for your book. I'm actually homeless currently. It might surprise you that I actually came from a fairly wealthy family. My dad was some sort of hotshot furniture salesman, and my mom was a cable TV installer. We actually owned our own house. It was double wide. But yeah, I guess I always thought I'd be a big success like my parents, and I guess it's just all right that they're not around anymore so that they don't have to see what my life has turned into. You know, I didn't exactly meet their high expectations.
So she has a little doubt, and she's taking what you call, she's taking responsibility. So definitely, she seems like in that picture, she's worried, she's concerned, she just doesn't want to fail anymore. And she recognizes that. So that in itself is a good sign. She is trying to work to her parents' expectations. That is what shows good spirit or somewhat honor. Even though that she's been from job to job, whatever the case may be, we will have to figure that out later, and to make sure that it's not going to happen again. But let's go with her. Let's keep talking to her. Let's see what she has to say about the hotel now. No, we should just go straight for what, because she was talking about her being homeless. So let's go there.
I wasn't always homeless. Actually, when I was in Alabama, I had 3,000 square feet to myself. I felt like a wealthy land baron or something. But I didn't have a house on the land, but I did have a really nice tent at first. It was great. I lived there for a full year before I could save up for a house. Well, not a house. I actually bought an 8-foot by 10-foot shed that was fantastic. It was just as good as a house. Had a roof, 4 walls, a window, a door, everything I needed. I don't know why more people don't just live in sheds.
So she's looking at the possibility of doing something else, so then that way, it doesn't take so much of living expenses and just living in a shed or a hut. And that's what they're doing, the government, to be honest. Government is doing a lot of things in order to put a lot of people in little kennels or apartments that are stacked upon each other, because it's rent and to buy a house is very, very expensive, especially here in California. So let's go with parents not around. She had mentioned her parents. Now we have job interviews. She mentioned, and then the shed. But let's ask her these questions because she brought them up. So then after that, we'll ask her about the hotel.
I've been an orphan almost my entire life. Yeah, my parents died in a fishing accident when I was really little. The only living relative I have is my Uncle Albert, but we don't really talk at all. He's been in and out of prison my whole life.
Damn. He's been out of prison his whole life, so how in the hell? So you have no connection to him, so she has zero support. Zero. Which is super hard and unfortunate for a lot of people in that situation. In and out of prison. Yeah. What's he doing?
My Uncle Albert? Oh, he goes back to prison all the time. He's actually serving a life sentence, but he keeps escaping. I don't know how he keeps getting out, but the guards catch him and put him right back in. Albert is from the dark side of my family. We didn't like to associate with them very much growing up.
Okay, so Uncle Albert is not all that important anymore. She didn't really tell us a whole lot. Oh well, we could continue with it. Dark side of the family. Let's see what she has to say.
We were always a little bit ashamed to be related to Albert's side of the family, to be honest. I mean, I know that I'm not some great success or anything like that, but at least I'm trying to better myself. Albert's mom was a lawyer, and his dad was a member of Congress for over a decade. It's like they didn't even try to have honest jobs.
So, okay. So, obviously, Albert's no good. In and out of back in prison. Never really changed. Never tried to do good. And this is one of the things that I said in the very beginning about taking responsibility. She's taking responsibility. So, let's go to the fishing accident or job interviews.
My first job interview was for a job selling jewelry. I didn't have any experience, so they said they couldn't hire me. My second job interview was at an adult video store. They needed someone to clean up those video booths after customers used them. I also didn't have any experience with this, but I really wanted the job, so I lied and said that I'd been doing it for 15 years already in 3 different cities. I thought for sure they were going to hire me, but for some reason they didn't. I guess that was karma telling me that I shouldn't have lied.
You was working at a adult, what do you call that? Glory hole type places. Do they even have those places anymore? Maybe like in Chicago or like Vegas and shit like that, maybe. Where are we at? Oh, we're in Vegas. What an idiot. What a stupid question. Okay, let's keep going. Fishing accident.
My parents used to take me fishing on the southern coast of Alabama. I don't think we were supposed to be fishing at the spot they found, but there was never anybody around to tell us to leave, so we did it anyway. It was really nice, and almost like a real vacation. Anyway, we didn't have a real boat. We had just 3 of those floating pool chairs that we'd like paddle out and just sit there and fish. It was really relaxing. Anyway, one day my parents caught an undertow and the current pushed them out deep into the ocean. So luckily I managed to get to shore, but it took me a while to find anyone for help. The authorities searched and searched for them, but all they could find were their pool chairs, empty. It was really bad, but I was placed into the foster care system.
Interesting. Let's go with foster care.
I wasn't in the foster care system for very long.
Oh, not very long.
I was
Okay.
placed with a foster family, but unfortunately, my foster parents died the first night that I was with them.
Damn.
A burglar broke in and murdered them. My foster mom was able to call the police, but by the time they arrived, they were already dead. And the police couldn't find the burglar anywhere. The prosecutor on the case assumed that I had murdered my foster parents and even accused me of killing my birth parents. So he got the judge to sign off that I was going to be tried as an adult instead of a child, even though I was only 9. Luckily, they did find the real killer, and it turns out he was just really good at hiding, and he was in a crawl space under the house. So, unfortunately, due to this legal loophole that in Alabama I was now considered legally an adult, so I was out of the foster care system and I had to find a job. So I worked in a coal mine. It wasn't the work I wanted to be doing, but it paid something. And then when I was 18, I moved out of Alabama.
Wow. Some people got some tough lives out there, man. So obviously it hasn't been going for her for a while. So moved out of Alabama, huh?
I didn't have much money saved up, so I had to hop onto a train like they do in the movies. Only it wasn't exactly like how they do it in the movies because there were no big empty cars with those open sides that you could just hop right onto. The best I could find was a small platform that stuck out from the train a couple of inches. I was able to put my feet on that, and then there was a handle that I could cling to. I figured that I could just stay like that for an hour, and then I'd be across state lines, but Unfortunately, the train picked up a lot of speed, and I was stuck clinging onto the train up until Detroit.
Okay. Detroit.
Well, I hadn't intended on going to Detroit, but since I was there, I decided to make the most out of it. I got a job as the mascot at a children's restaurant. It was kind of a cheap ripoff of Chuck E. Cheese, and I had a costume that wasn't so much a cute mouse as a scary rat, but luckily the kids didn't seem to mind too much, but I was only there for a little bit anyway. The first time I got my paycheck, I went to the bank and I was still in my rat costume, and unfortunately, 2 bank robbers came in also in costume. So when the police showed up, they assumed that I was with them and arrested me along with them. I was able to sort things out at the police station and I got off, but my picture in costume was already in the newspaper, so my boss didn't like seeing his mascot on the front page of the newspaper for bank robbery, so I got fired.
Okay. Honest about her situation and being very upfront with what's going on. Is my thing skipping? I think it's skipping. And you know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna hook up the PC to an Ethernet cable and no more Wi-Fi after this. Tomorrow in the morning I'm gonna hook that bitch up and get it running through the wall and all that shit and bring it all the way upstairs because this shit's starting to piss me off. And I got three layouts here is what it's saying. Dropped frames detected. Okay, so I'm gonna keep monitoring that. Okay, so we're gonna ask her now about the hotel.
I used to work at the Bellflower as a professional gambler. That's actually how I met Mr. Davenport. His security guards thought that I was cheating, actually, so they brought me in for hours and hours of questioning. Thankfully, they looked through the security footage and saw that I was not cheating. They could have just kicked me out, but Mr. Davenport was so kind, and he actually put me in a room for a full week to make up for the trouble that had been caused. This is the nicest hotel I've ever been in.
Caught cheating, huh? Okay. So, I'm just interested.
That was the nicest place I ever lived.
I'm trying to find
Unfortunately,
something wrong
2
with her.
weeks after I bought that shed, it was swallowed in a sinkhole. So, there was really nothing left for me in Alabama. I decided to chase my childhood dream and move to Albuquerque.
You've been to Alabama. What was the other place? And then now Albuquerque? God.
Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to move to a big city. You know, one of those places that musicians write songs about? A place like Albuquerque. When I finally moved to Albuquerque, it exceeded my expectations. All the glitz, all the glamour, it was incredible. And the best part was the people were really nice. It was great. I'd probably still be there today if it weren't for the puppy incident.
Damn, now we're going to ask her for the puppy incident. Damn, this is going a little too much.
A little boy had lost his dog, and the entire community banded together to try to find it. Every business had some sort of poster in the window asking for people to find the dog, and I actually came across the dog, but unfortunately it was already dead, so I buried it. And then I wanted to do that thing that they do in TV shows where you replace one dead animal with a new alive animal that looks the same. So I went to every pet store in town until I found a dog that looked like the dog that I had buried that had died. I brought it to the little boy's family and they seemed so happy. It was great until about 2 weeks after that when I found out the truth. The little boy and his family weren't looking for a lost pet. Unfortunately, they were looking for a dog that had bitten the little boy. They wanted the dog to see if the dog had rabies. since I didn't bring the correct dog back, they couldn't test the dog, and
Son of
turns out the dog that bit the little boy did have
rabies.
That's why he died. The story
Son
doesn't
of
have a happy ending for the little boy, and I couldn't face the townspeople anymore, so I had to move out of Albuquerque.
You know, I know a couple of people who like do a little too much and then ends up just getting themselves in trouble, but try to say like, you know, oh, well, I was just trying to help, but sometimes, you know, just don't help because you just make it worse. She may be one of those people. I don't know what you call them, but you know, today it's very popular to say that, oh, you're a narcissist, or you're a super narcissist, or whatever, right? But you know, half of the people just learned that word. You know, the majority of the people really just learned that word, and now they're just throwing it out there to whoever disagrees with them. You know, but in her situation, she's not a narcissist. Narcissist. She's one of them people that is always trying to do good, and it just turns bad. You know what I mean? And she kind of blames it on the situation around her, of her trying to be a good person, but at the same time takes responsibility. So the problem is that she just has too much bad luck, is what it sounds like. So let me write that down here. Bad luck. Bad luck person. And one thing with people, you always want to stay away from the people that have bad luck like this. Because sometimes, even though that they're trying to be, you know, owning responsibility, they're trying to own responsibility, and at the same time, they still continue to run into this type of bad luck. It might be that they're creating it themselves, and then claiming to be the victim. So this is the last question here for her.
Oh, that was the wildest thing. I actually ended up here in Vegas by accident, but while I was here, I figured I might as well try gambling. It turned out I was extremely bad at it, though, and I actually caught the eye of a wealthy man who asked me to be a professional gambler for him. He would give me money to play craps, and then he would bet on me losing. And we actually made a great team, and he made a ton of money off me. But the casinos started noticing what was happening, and they started kicking us out. Mr. Davenport was the only one who was really nice about it, though.
You see what I mean by all her accidents and things like that is just by accident? You know, in Vegas by accident? Right. You know, something, but she's trying to say like accident, like, you know, oh, this wasn't supposed to happen, but I was doing something. And let's see what she says. Let's see what the hell she says.
Well, I didn't mean to end up here, but I was on a bus on my way to Denver, and the bus stopped here, and I got off to use the bathroom, but I guess I took too long because when I came back out, the bus was gone, and it also had my luggage on it, so when I got here, all I had was the clothes on my back. But I'm glad it happened because I had a really good time here.
She said, I guess I took so long and they left me. No. You should know your time limit before you go in. So definitely this girl, even though she has a couple of good qualities of being honest, but maybe her being honest the way she is actually, you know, one of her strategies for you to sympathize for her. And meeting this wealthy dude and then using her that way, she's obviously desperate. I don't even give a shit about Denver and why she was going to Denver. It seems like she's just been bouncing around. So in the very beginning, it started off good, but at the end, there was just too many situations that has happened to this girl, and without enough information about details, I would have without the details, because if I could ask these questions, I would get into the details. But that's one of the things with like interviews or certain type of professional conversations. People do not want to listen to the details. For me, I'm a detailed person because, I could understand, but, really in business or like, with your HR or whatever, they don't want to listen to or, your business people that you deal within business, whatever it may be, they don't want to listen to details. They just want to know the facts. What happened? This. Okay, why that happened? Okay, that. And then they fill in the details themselves. I think this is a case of where, could you go detail by detail? In this situation, you can't. But would I have, if I was sitting there with a personality like hers in the situation that she's talking about? I probably would have. But since these last two questions don't really interest me, and she's already on the, I don't know, I'm ready to go to the next one. Let's go. And she's I don't know. She's up. Too many issues. Way too many issues. And it's all like poor me story, Don't ever buy that shit. Okay, so here we got the Mormon family. Sarah Goodley. Tell me about yourself. Let's ask her about the hotel first, because we've been saying about...
We love this hotel. We come here every year on vacation.
We take a lot of family vacations together. The only thing better than seeing the world is seeing the world together.
This is my favorite vacation we take. I love coming here to Vegas.
That is true. It's all she talks about for months leading up to the trip.
I do get pretty excited about our vacation time.
Too excited. And it must be coming from Utah or somewhere out of state, like super far. Okay. Family vacations, right. I wonder where they're coming from, right? Las Vegas. Tell me about yourself. So we're going to go with family vacations. So hopefully we could see where they're from. And then after that, we'll go tell me about yourself.
I take 2 weeks vacation from my dental practice each year so we can go on a family trip.
It's safe to say our Las Vegas trips are our favorite. This is our 3rd year in a row coming here.
Next year, I'll be old enough to go to the casino floor.
Sarah won't be 21 until next month.
It's so stupid. Fucking excited. Tell me about yourself.
I'm Alice Goodley.
I'm Walter, and this is Sarah.
It's so nice to meet you.
We're from Utah.
I told you. Oh my God. How good could I read it? How good did I read that? I said that from the beginning. These motherfuckers are Mormons. Oh man, I gotta clip that and put that up. All right, let's figure out this family. Oh shit, that's funny. Utah.
We are very lucky to live there. Our neighborhood is just dandy. But then again, I guess everybody says that about their hometowns.
We have friendly neighbors, a brand new school, and the best darn volunteer fire department you could ask for.
Well, it's not perfect, though. Crime has been on the rise lately.
Oh, that's true. Last Halloween, 2 houses got toilet papered.
Yeah, a bunch of us pitched in, and we got those houses cleaned up by noon. Still, it was kind of disappointing to know that something like that could happen only a few blocks away.
Cleaning up all that toilet paper was really fun, though.
That's our Sarah, always looking on the bright side of any situation.
And for people that think that this is cheesy acting, it's not. The first girl was kind of like a little. The first one, Ashley, which I said she's gone, was kind of like, okay, it was like, not so much believable. Mallory was pretty good acting. This right here, Sarah Goodley, a lot of people would think that it's corny or not not accurate. No, this is definitely how Utah people are, and family wise too, and the way they look, everything. Like, I've been around Utah family people, and this is exactly how they act. And it's funny, but it's just, I'm not trying to categorize them, or it's not a bad thing, you know, but it's just that, like, for some reason, I don't know, people in Utah, they try to have like a funny sense of humor, but they don't. No matter how hard they try, they just don't have a sense of humor. So only in Utah think, within their little town or wherever they're from, it's only them in there that think that they're funny. They go anywhere else, they're not funny. They're just very, like this picture. Just goofy, All right, let's go. We can keep going with this family here. So homeboy's a dentist. Why Las Vegas? Volunteer fire department at Utah over there. He was talking about the neighbors and shit. Well, I don't care about that. Let's go Las Vegas. Why Las Vegas?
A few years ago, we heard that Las Vegas had undergone some changes and was very family-friendly now. Once we heard that, we just had to come check it out.
And we were not disappointed. There's a lot more to do here than just gambling and attending wild rock concerts. There's an aquarium, a history museum, and gondola rides.
We even found a soup kitchen that lets us volunteer every time we come here.
We do participate in some of the wilder activities, too. Last year, we toured the Pinball Hall of Fame. I figured we are in Vegas after all. We might as well get a little crazy while we're here.
They got Mormons and people from Utah on the T. That's on the T. That's like, man. We're gonna keep talking to them. Soup kitchen. Yeah, what the fuck is soup kitchen?
We all love doing charity work, but to be honest, Alice and I don't find nearly as much time as we should. Sarah, on the other hand, always finds the time.
She volunteers every week at an assisted living facility, a food bank, and an animal shelter. I wish I had her youthful energy.
Thank you. They're just being modest. They both do plenty.
When I was younger, I did what I could. Now all I really do is make the occasional donation.
What about when we went to the beach last summer?
That's true. We spent the day cleaning the beach, and we had a contest among ourselves to see who could collect the most trash bags worth of litter.
Daddy won by a full bag.
It doesn't matter who fills the most bags. What matters is doing our part for the environment.
Every piece of litter you pick up off the beach is one less piece that'll make it into the ocean. That's what Daddy always says.
I really want to go through the whole questions with these people, but I don't think I am. They're just overly dramatic and super they may be being real within their family, like that's the way they actually act, that's the way they talk and stuff. But in the real world, you act like that, especially taking over this hotel, this casino. Nobody's gonna take you serious with that attitude. So let's go. Even though there are certain things that I would like to ask, let's go with the ones that hit hard the most. Like, for an example, volunteer fire department. I don't want to know about that, because he mentioned it, that's what's in his community. Rock concerts, gambling, food bank, dentist. We could ask him about his thing, but who's actually interviewing? It's the girl. So why in the fuck do I give a shit that he's a dentist? Assisted living facility, animal shelter. Let's go with assisted living facility. I don't even think, a lot of these questions I don't even like. Just see what they say about rock concerts and about. No, let's go with gambling.
None of us gamble, but I don't understand why it has such a bad reputation.
I've never gambled before, but I do want to try it when I turn 21 next year.
I've tried it. Gambling isn't really for me, but it seems like an innocent enough pastime.
Okay. So that was quick. Rock concerts, we want to see what they actually do.
We've never been to a rock concert. We really should
In
go
Vegas.
sometime, though.
Walter wasn't the biggest fan of rock music for the longest time, but it was Sarah that convinced him to give it a try.
All the rock music I heard growing up just seemed so edgy. I figured it wasn't for me.
Daddy just hadn't listened to the right bands.
That's true, because I wasn't the biggest fan of rock music either, when all I ever heard were wild groups like the Beatles and Billy Joel. If Sarah hadn't shown me that there were less rowdy bands out there, I'd probably still be missing out.
It is amazing how much Sarah's changed our lives.
So this interview, the simple fact that they brought the fucking parents is stupid. That in itself shouldn't be something to where, you know what I mean? Like, fuck your parents there, you know what I mean? Get them the fuck out of here. And, yeah, so, yeah. It's not because I don't like people from Utah, and it's not because I don't like Mormons. It's the simple fact that these people, the way that they act like that, is just so fake. They may be real, like within, it's like a culture within themselves over there. And that's the truth. You have them type of people in every situation in every type of different area. And they're closed-minded to a lot of things. That doesn't mean that you got to go out there and super sin and, you know, do all these type of crazy stuff, you know what I mean? But it's not necessarily logic. Let's go with, it's not logic to hire somebody like this with the world, is what I mean. Within the world, you're not going to be taken seriously. Let's go with, assisted living, dentist, food bank. See, I don't even care about these no more, but let's go. Now we're going to just go with we're just going to take it from the top. Let's go.
I've been helping out at the shelter for over a year now. I love working with the animals.
We used to be part of the neighborhood pet patrol.
Whenever anyone in our town lost a pet, we'd post flyers and work the phones until that family had their missing member back.
I miss doing that.
We used to be part of the pet patrol, but it's handled online now. I hear it's very efficient, but we don't have the internet in our house, so we're not part of it anymore.
They don't have the internet in their house anymore? You know, well, that just only tells me that they're not internet savvy. I understand that sometimes, this is what I'm saying, the people from Utah and the people, you know, they'll take the internet away within the household, you know, which is a good thing, I think. But there's ways around from where you could set up the internet, if it's your kids or whatever it is, to where it blocks certain websites, you know, and you put it on a restriction, you know. They have it on cell phones now. And so, yeah, definitely I'm going to go to don't use the internet, because I'm just curious to what they're going to say. I know what a person from Utah would say or a Mormon would say. I want to see what they say.
I know people who have internet in their homes, and it does seem pretty useful, but there is a lot of bad stuff online.
I've been online, and there's a lot of good stuff on there, too.
I'm sure it has its uses. It's just too easy to stumble across unpleasant language or other bad things. I just don't want it in my home.
Walter's dental practice does have its own website. People can book appointments online.
My secretary Janet runs the site for me. We have internet at the office, and she is great at using it. She spends some of her downtime on a website called the TikTok.
Oh, I've never heard of that one. What is it for?
Honestly, I have no idea. Janet has showed it to me multiple times, and I just can't wrap my head around it.
Wow. Well, you know, I mean, to be honest, you know, I didn't start fucking with TikTok until just a couple of weeks ago, you know, and mainly because what their concern is about the content and what is being viewed in TikTok. So, like, you know, I understand where they're coming from, but I think sometimes you could go off to the point where, you know, you're all the way off to the right. Now that I have a TikTok, you know, we're over there. It's called TikTok, GGN TikTok, and we'll be posting videos over there, like videos that I'll be clipping from this live stream in order to bring traffic over here, because I'm actually liking this whole little interaction with these people and being able to give my 2 cents. And if there was, you know, an interaction and a thing coming, like, you know, going back and forth type interaction with the community in order to identify these type of issues, you know, yeah, I think it'll help out a lot of people because they don't see like exactly what I see. And when you could actually define something and predict something before it happens, like I did with these people, and I said they were Mormon, there you go, there you have it, you know, or from Utah is what I said, and Mormon, but both. They haven't said they're Mormon, but they are from Utah, and this is the way these people act.
I love volunteering there.
Some of Sarah's best friends are residents there.
She's talking about Harold and Eleanor. I've learned so much from them.
They love having her there, too. They tell me all the time.
Walter and I thought we did our fair share of volunteering, but Sarah puts us to shame.
It really shouldn't count as work if it's fun to do.
Go with the dentist.
My father and grandfather were both dentists. All the men in my family were. Well, except for my brother Stephen. It's a family tradition.
Stephen is quite the rebel. He lives by his own rules.
He's a pediatrician in Salt Lake City. That's clear across the state from us.
He only comes to visit a few times a year, usually on holidays.
We do drive up to Salt Lake City once in a while. My friend Linda lives there too, so we get to visit her and Stephen in one trip.
Eleanor.
Eleanor was a phone operator for most of her life. From what she says, there was a time when operators had to manually make phone calls go through. I can't even wrap my head around that.
I've known Eleanor for years. She organized the town's first bake sale, and she always had the best Christmas decorations every year when I was growing up.
Our town gets very into Christmas lights. Walking around and looking at all the decorated houses, it's a tradition for us.
I prefer driving around. It's a lot warmer.
Can't disagree with that. Sarah and I don't like the cold weather as much as Walter does.
Oh, I've always loved the winter. Playing outside in the snow is one of my favorite things growing up. I've made more than my fair share of snowmen.
I'm more of a summer girl.
Me too.
So, we are going to pause right there. I'm about to grab another drink, and we're going to continue this. It is 9:25 avocado time, so I think we could actually get through this like within another hour. We've been doing this. We've been running it for about an hour. I think about another hour we could get to some of these questions, and then we're going to get to the last interviewee, which is Becca and Todd. So we'll go with that. But we're still right here with Sarah Goodley, and I will be right back. Okay, we are back with this PS5 exclusive of the FMV experience, full motion video genre. So we have this family at the interview. I don't know why she brought her family, but let's continue with this interview.
When I was little, a tornado hit our town. 2 families lost their homes.
Oh my gosh.
Language, honey.
Sorry, Daddy.
Eleanor hosted a bake sale to raise money for those families.
The bake sale turned into an annual event. They raise money for a new cause every year.
It's a really big deal. Everyone in town goes.
Alice actually runs the bake sale now. She took over for Eleanor when she retired.
Okay. Let's go to Salt Lake.
Our trips to Salt Lake City are one of the few things we have trouble agreeing on. There's just so much to do, and everybody wants to do something different.
I like to go to the zoo, Sarah likes the planetarium, and Walter likes the Natural History Museum.
We started playing a board game right before our trip. The winner gets to pick where we go.
Sarah usually wins, but she's very gracious when she does. Last time she won, she picked the zoo to make Alice happy.
I won twice in a row. I would have felt selfish if I picked the planetarium both times. Plus, we hadn't gone to the zoo in forever. It wouldn't have been fair.
Isn't she just the best?
So it seems like a lot of these questions is really directed at the family and like who they are, what they do, and it has nothing to do with how they would be able to run a casino. I think there was something in the beginning where it said that they don't know that they're being interviewed to run for the casino, to take it over. So I got to put that in perspective as well.
Sarah used to only volunteer there once a month. She wanted to work more, but they didn't need the help.
True, but when Sarah wants something, she finds a way to make it happen.
While working there, I learned that a lot of the local homeless people were illiterate.
She talked them into letting her use their facility to hold a literacy class once a week.
It's every Friday night from 6 to 9. There wasn't a lot of attendance at first, but it's a pretty full class now, and I've made some good friends there too.
It's the one night a week that I let Sarah stay out until 9:30 now. I don't want her coming home that late, but she's really making a difference in people's lives.
Harold is the friendliest person you'll ever meet. He can go on for hours about the past.
He used to own the hardware store in town when I was a kid. They had a toy section that was only a few feet wide, but it felt like a full toy store to us kids.
You know, the way you're going on about the past makes you sound a little like Harold.
Well, I don't think I'm quite the storyteller Harold is. He really likes to go into detail.
That's true. He once told me a story about toilet paper that lasted for 20 minutes. It was a good story.
We've all heard that one. Harold likes to go on and on about how toilet paper rolls have gotten smaller and smaller over the years. So now you have to buy a 12-pack of toilet paper just to get the same amount of toilet paper that used to come in a 4-pack.
I mean, he has a point. I mean, if they still made them like they used to, my grocery trips would be a lot easier.
A lot of this stuff is irrelevant.
Linda was my best friend back in high school. She was a bit of a troublemaker back then. To be honest, I was a bit of a rascal myself.
It's true. Alice and Linda were big mischief makers. Now, it may seem hard to believe now, but Alice was quite the prankster in her teenage years.
How come I've never heard about this before?
Well, I'm not very proud of some of the things I did, so I don't talk about them much.
Can you tell me about one of them? Please.
Okay. Every April Fool's Day, Linda and I would send someone a pizza they didn't order as a prank. We paid cash, so it couldn't be traced back to us. And we'd also tip the drivers so they wouldn't get stiffed in the gratuity.
I hope none of those people were trying to lose weight. That could knock someone off their diet.
We were young and reckless. We didn't think about the consequences back then.
I understand. I certainly got into my fair share of trouble when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. So super morally, super like wanting to be perfect. Sarah's share of trouble, yes.
I've caused as much trouble as anyone. I was once suspended from school for smoking. Another time I got detention for a whole week for cutting class. I'm no angel.
Well, you know, the way they're coming across is very, very angelical, super perfect, and sometimes with people that portray themselves as super perfect, it's not all that great. I mean, look at that guy's eyes. This has to be an incest type situation, something. Um, something's going on with them, and we're gonna ask her about cutting class.
I skipped study hall and snuck into the school gym. The principal caught me and I got a week's detention. It's really not a very interesting story.
Well, that's not the whole story, is it? You didn't mention why you went to the gym.
I was helping to set up a surprise party for the principal. His 25th anniversary at our school is coming up, so we had to do something for him. My study hall teacher knew and gave me permission to skip class, but I couldn't say that without ruining the surprise party. Still feel bad about lying to the principal.
Now, honey, lying is sometimes okay when it's to help the person you're lying to, like when we got you your glasses.
I know, Daddy, but it still feels wrong.
Yeah. So through the very beginning, we noticed that very, very super, super perfect, and now we're getting into these little bit of more honesty in exactly who these people are. You're not wearing glasses today, so what's
Sarah used to
going on?
babysit a little girl named Emily. She really looked up to Sarah. She always said she wanted to be just like her when she grew up.
One day, Emily had to get glasses, and she looked really cute, but she hated how they looked. She was super self-conscious about it, and
Emily
she couldn't even stand to go to
not
school
her,
anymore.
not Sarah.
That's when Sarah came to me and asked
Wait a
me if I
minute.
could get her vision checked.
Okay,
she figured
no.
if she wore glasses too, then Emily wouldn't feel so bad about them anymore.
Okay,
Daddy
I
took
see.
me to get tested, but unfortunately my vision was 20/20.
I've never seen somebody so disappointed to have good vision. That's when I took Sarah to the mall to get her a pair of fake glasses.
Daddy's the best. I started wearing them whenever I was around Emily, and it worked like a charm. She started liking her own glasses almost immediately.
I don't know about that. It just seems fake. Like, why fake it? Like, you know, it was very weird for you to fake, you know, putting on glasses so that somebody else could feel comfortable within their glasses. You know, who does that? People from Utah.
I was walking to my next class when a kid I didn't know dropped a pack of cigarettes. I instinctively picked them up for him, but just as I did, a teacher happened to see me holding them and sent me to the principal's office. I couldn't say they weren't mine without telling on the other kids, so I got suspended.
It worked out for the best. The kid eventually felt bad that Sarah was taking the blame for him and told the principal what really happened. Then he later became Sarah's first boyfriend.
It's not what it sounds like. A couple of girls at school were playing a prank on this kid, Tommy. He was really unpopular. They pretended he had a secret admirer and started passing him all these fake notes. They were just building up his hopes to crush them. Eventually, so many kids got in on the prank that nobody even knew where it started. I didn't want to see him get hurt, so I pretended I was the admirer, and we dated for 2 months. He turned out to be a nice guy, but I was only 17 at the time and nowhere near ready for a boyfriend yet.
I've known Janet for years. She's in my book club.
I play golf with her husband, Frank. They're good people.
Frank and Janet invited us up to their fishing cabin this weekend, but we had to turn them down.
We didn't want to be rude by declining, but fishing really isn't our cup of tea.
I just don't see how snatching another life form from their home could be fun. What did those poor fishies ever do to us?
Mm-hmm.
One thing you should never do is stiff a service worker. Tips are most of their income.
I'm ashamed to admit I am guilty of that myself. There was a time where I didn't know you were supposed to tip housekeepers when you stayed at a hotel. I've been traveling for years before I realized it. I have no idea how many housekeepers I stiffed without realizing it.
A lot of people aren't sure when they're supposed to tip and when they aren't. It's a big problem.
Well, I don't use a smartphone myself, but I hear one of the big problems these days is people don't know they're supposed to tip app workers.
I thought everyone knew that one.
Nah, Bird Proc. Not trying to be famous and trying to buy followers. I know that's what all you motherfuckers do, but I don't do that. This is recreational for me.
We're a flip phone family.
I love flip phones. They're inexpensive, the battery lasts a full week, and they don't break when you drop them.
I like knowing Sarah has plenty of charge on her phone in case she needs a ride.
Well, you know, if I had a smartphone, I wouldn't have to bother you or Daddy when I need a ride. I could just use an app.
She's talking about those rideshare services. I just don't understand those. I mean, when I was growing up, we were taught never to talk to strangers on the internet and not to get into a car with a stranger. But now there's an app that literally lets you summon a stranger on the internet so you can get in their car. I don't understand why they're so popular.
I'm sure there's plenty of useful apps on those things, but everybody that I know that has a smartphone, they just text each other. I prefer having to call someone. It's more of a social interaction for me.
Walter likes the winter, but you will not catch me outside if there's snow on the ground.
We've never helped Daddy shovel snow once. We just stay inside with the heat cranked up.
Believe me, they more than make up for it in the summertime. I can't remember the last time I watered the lawn.
We do love finding excuses to work outside during the summer.
I'm starting a charity car wash. I already have a bunch of other girls signed up. We're starting on Memorial Day.
I love the car wash idea. There are always plenty of worthy
Memorial
charities.
Day. It's Memorial Day
It's a lot of
weekend.
fun. It's like getting to go to a water park for free. I love water parks. One of my favorite things about living in Utah is that we have so many of them.
I'm a bit of a water slide enthusiast myself.
I'm not really into the water slides. My favorite part is the lazy river.
I think Sarah's favorite part is all the attention she gets from boys when she gets to wear her bathing suit.
That's nice too, but I've always loved water parks. My parents used to take me all the time when I was growing up.
My favorite ride is the one where you have to cross a bunch of lily pads while holding on to the rope.
Walter always makes it across, though. I mean, that defeats the purpose. You're supposed
Walter's
to
a
fall
fucking
in.
dork.
Well, what's the point of going to a water park if you're not going to get wet?
I like the challenge. It's hard to get across. Plus, my feet get wet.
I don't think he gets it.
Very strange family. Sarah's parents.
My mom and dad live just a few blocks away from us, so I get to see them all the time.
Oh, did you think Sarah was our daughter?
I fucking knew it.
That a lot.
I just don't understand why so many people think we're related. I don't see the resemblance.
Yeah, Sarah and I aren't related, but we are married to the same daddy.
We met Sarah when she was 18 and fell in love right away. She became my second wife 6 months later.
Well, I could never live up to his first wife, though. Alice is amazing.
Oh, Sarah's just being modest. She is an
Did I call this shit again?
She's a crackerjack in the bedroom as well.
That's just because I had such a great teacher.
Oh, well, Sarah's the real teacher. Did you know that you could use your feet in the bedroom? We had never heard of such a thing, but Sarah showed us, and now, by golly, Walter can't get enough of it.
And don't forget the thing you do that Alice likes. I have no idea how she comes up with these things.
Well, I didn't invent them. I learned them on the internet.
Well, the internet doesn't seem that bad. Maybe we should think about getting a computer.
Can we, Daddy, please?
So Sarah is a hoe. That ain't even her parents. I knew something was wrong with them. Just didn't seem right. And what happened? I called it again. Based on the simple fact that, there's nothing wrong with having 2 wives or 3 wives, what is it, being a polygamist? Right here, write this down. Polygamist. Fucking knew it. Fucking knew it. And in business, you know, not saying that polygamy is wrong, but in business, you don't want a polygamist to be running, or you can't trust somebody like that with their emotions, especially a female. Because sometimes, and more than all the time, this type of shit don't work. And, you know, that's why the Apostle Paul said, it is better for a man to have one wife. But I don't want to knock the polygamous people. But in a business, you got to be focused, super focused, to make decisions. And if you made the decision to be a polygamist, you deal with a lot of emotional strain. It may sound and look all great and look like a happy polygamous family, but to be honest, it seems like it's all a show. And eventually something will happen. And sometimes people bring home into work, and we can't be having that. So these people, Sarah is definitely gone. So far we have Ashley, she's gone. And that was only mainly because she was talking about magic. But then she explained that she does magic shows, but it seems like she has a trust issue. So if she has a trust issue, how could I trust her? Mallory, homeless, seems to always have bad luck and always turning things into a victim type of state where it's like, woe is me, that I didn't mean to do that, and, you know, I had to leave type thing. So, you know, she has a lot of bad luck. So let's go to the next one. This family here, polygamous family, not a good look. And so far it's Mallory, but we have this fucking guy. And when I first seen him, I said I wasn't going to say it, but now I will say it. He looks like a school shooter. He looks like he looks like he's only a few months away from committing a massive fucking shooting incident. That's what he looks like to me. You know? Who's interviewing for the job? I don't know. I think it's Becca. Becca looks like a, you know, if she chose this fucking guy, you know, how could you fucking really trust her with her, you know, with anything else? Let's see. Tell me about yourself.
My name is Becca.
And I'm Todd.
We're from New York City.
New York City. So this guy is probably Jewish. He looks a little Jewish. Probably on a little bit of meds. And with a name like Todd, nobody takes a name like Todd seriously. Becca, I just don't like that name. Doesn't ring nicely in my ears. But let's go.
This is where Todd said we had to stay when we came to Vegas.
Yeah, we're in town for our wedding.
Son of
We
a...
actually ran into the owner of the hotel while we were checking in, and he overheard us saying we were getting married, so he upgraded us to a big suite, which was such a nice surprise.
And he was even more surprised when he asked if we wanted to be interviewed for your book. I mean, this is certainly turning out to be a memorable trip.
I would hope it'd already be memorable, what with our wedding and all.
Oh, of course. That was a poor choice of words on my part.
So that's what I was talking about earlier, is that all these interviewees are here thinking that they're being interviewed for a book about Vegas. So, got to take that into consideration. Now, the fact that they were married in Vegas, once again, all bad. So let's go Vegas. No, let's go wedding.
I wanted to get married in a church back home, but Becca wanted to do something original. Isn't that
Original.
right,
Yeah, we also couldn't afford a big wedding. You know, Todd's work has been a little slow lately.
Well, I'm an actor, and all actors have dry spells. Just part of the industry. Plus, Becca has a lot of debt, so we probably shouldn't be spending too much money right now.
Right now he's actually playing Elmo in Times Square. He takes his picture with tourists all day. He's so cute in the costume.
Yeah, I'm not Elmo.
Okay. Legally, he is a generic red creature, but we all know who he's supposed to be.
Vegas.
A Las Vegas wedding was her idea. I told her we could get married anywhere that she wanted.
Vegas seemed perfect. It's affordable, and it can double as a honeymoon.
Oh, plus it has casinos. She loves those.
Oh, and his strip clubs. Todd loves those. He actually made a list of all the clubs he wants to see before we leave.
It was just a list of places. There's one club on the list, but it's places that I want to see from the outside.
Todd grew up in a very religious household, so he can be a little embarrassed about these things. It's okay, sweetie. I've seen your list. It's perfectly normal for a man to want to see naked ladies.
Perfectly normal. Well, when you have a girl, I think you shouldn't, right? I think when you're single, it's okay. You know, going out with, whether it be by yourself or with people. Okay, so they're from New York City. Let's talk about New York.
Oh, I mean, I love New York. We have the best sports teams, the best nightclubs, the best restaurants. It's such an incredible place to live.
Even if I didn't have to live there for work, I don't think I could ever move.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many things you can only get in New York you can't get anywhere else. You should really visit if you haven't been before.
There's this Brony convention Todd goes to every year, and even if we moved, he'd have to go back every year. No way he could miss it. It's all he talks about for months leading up to it.
Why does this fucking guy keep looking at the fucking camera like that? Let's see, he's an actor, right? You ain't no fucking actor.
I think street performer is more of an appropriate term.
Oh,
He's
street
never done
performer.
Any sort of stage acting.
But I do have some exciting things lined up. Actually, I'm going to be in an upcoming film in New York.
It's a role in an unpaid student film. But it's a great start.
It's a very promising student film. It's going to be seen by a lot of people, and the exposure is worth more than the money, believe me.
It's a film about campus safety. They say that new students are going to see it for years to come. I just wish Todd had booked a speaking part. He has the talent.
Well, thank you, dear. Thank you.
In the beginning of this live stream, I said, I want to say what he looks like, but then I said, no, I'm not going to say it. And then we finally got to this couple, and then I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say it. And I said, this motherfucker looks like a school shooter or a massive or a fucking active mass shooter. I said that. And this guy so happens to be running a acting job on school safety. Let's go to the student film. See what else he says.
Oh, I'm not a student. I just responded to an ad on the internet.
He actually dropped out of high school.
I wanted to focus on my career. Yeah, I was actually working for a cell phone company at the time, and it was a great job. I was making good money, and I wanted to move up, but they downsized, and a lot of us lost our jobs.
They laid off all the sign spinners at once, which was such a shame because Todd was so talented at it. We actually met when he was sign spinning on the corner at my apartment. He caught my eye right away.
So off the top, this dude is fucking weird. And there's a motherfucker she married. So let's talk about church, debt, first met, Ronnie convention. I don't know exactly what that is. But she did say that she has debt. And it shouldn't be a factor because I think everybody has debt. But how much debt?
Yeah, I took out a lot of student loans. I would have been more than happy going to an affordable law school, but Daddy insisted I go to Harvard if I wanted to work at the family firm. So I will probably be paying that off for years. I don't know why Todd puts up with me and all my baggage.
Don't.
You also mentioned church. Let's go with church.
Todd's family is very religious, very devout.
Oh, I'm not as devout as the rest of them.
Oh, no, you're just being modest. He's the only boyfriend I've ever had who insisted on keeping his virginity until we get married. I mean, how impressive is that?
I don't know.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal.
It's kind of a big deal. I've had to go over a year without it, so.
We've been together for 2 years, dear.
I checked someone off my list last year. We promised we wouldn't have to tell each other that. The baseball player.
Oh, he's about to fucking kill this bitch. Oh my god, that's horrible. They don't even know who they are. Wow. Talk about a family firm.
Kennedy, Seymour, and Cartwright. Michael Kennedy's my father. Barbara Cartwright is my mother. It's not the biggest firm in New York, but we do all right.
Michael Kennedy, Barbara Cartwright, list. Let's see what the Bronx.
It's a convention for My Little Pony fans.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds.
I mean,
Wow.
lots of adults.
That's
though.
what I thought it was,
Actually.
actually.
It's almost entirely adults.
Wow.
I think the TV show is super sweet, but I've only been with Todd once. They don't really like girls going. I think it kind of messes with the whole.
Yeah, because
bro
they're all
part.
fucking gay. Wow. See, told you from the very beginning, whether he's not a fucking massive school shooter in the fucking future, or a massive active shooter, for that matter. The guy's a fucking weirdo. That brony fucking shit, that's something else. You want to know what I'm talking about, just look at the conventions, and if you're with that, you're with that. But don't bring that shit towards me or around my family, or I respect you for what you do and who you are, what you do. But yeah, I can't be friends with somebody like that. Wow. Yeah, I told you he was a fucking weirdo.
My father doesn't really like Todd.
Oh, maybe at first, but I think we get along better now.
Todd really wants to impress my dad. That's actually part of the reason why we're having this budget wedding. I'm sure Daddy would have paid for a big wedding if I asked, but Todd wants to prove to him that we're self-sufficient.
And we are.
Mm-hmm. My parents didn't get married until years after they'd already been legal partners. At that point, my mom had already a long list of clients, a really great reputation, so that's why she kept her own last name.
Yeah, plus they would have had to change the name of the law firm. I mean, they had to print new business cards, order new signs. It would have been a big hassle, right?
That's why I'm keeping my last name. So if everything goes according to plan right before my dad retires, I will get made partner at the firm. That way there will still be a Kennedy in the name. Also, Becca Boner just doesn't really have a great ring to it for a lawyer.
Well, like what I said in the very beginning, Becca don't sound appealing either. You're fucked both ways. And I didn't even, I was going to say I wouldn't pick this girl mainly because, number one, she got married in Vegas. Number two, her name is Becca. Not very appealing. And now she just said she's concerned about the last name. So you see how people actually do take that into consideration. Me, myself, I wouldn't give a shit. you know. But I know how other people may think. She's already thinking that. Man, I'm like, what, 5 for 5 so far? This is crazy. This is crazy. And I'm actually really enjoying this shit. This is really crazy. Sometimes I need to trust myself a lot more with my judgment of people instead of being so damn nice all the time. I need to start trusting my own judgment. I'm 5 for 5 right now. Killing it. Like Steph Curry. Killing it. Threes all day. You know. Well, let's go. Keeping last name. Yeah, that's the one. So let's see how they first met.
So I just moved out of my parents' house into my parents' apartment building, and I didn't really know my way around the area. So I was running late for a meeting, and when I went outside, I saw Todd spinning his little arrow sign on the corner. So I went up to him and asked for directions, and instead of just telling me where to go, he spun his sign all impressively and pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
That was like the cutest thing.
Well, she came back after a meeting and she asked for my number, and we went on our first date the next day, and I knew she was the one after our first date.
I knew it after the third.
Oh, did you?
That's funny. I did that directional arrow type thing when I was 17, 16 years old. And yeah, that's funny. Call it living signs. But I did it for real estate. This dude, they're not really talking about what he was doing it for, but you know, it could have been Little Caesars, you know, $5 pizzas, you know, because now they have the living signs like that all over. But what started the living signs was I mean, at least over here in Avocado Land, was for housing, for real estate. And they started building a lot of houses, and you see them all over the corners. And I went over there and I asked one of the dudes, I was like, "Hey man, how much they pay you?" This was years ago. So, you know, the guy told me, "Oh, they pay me, you know, $14 an hour." And, you know, like I said, this was years ago. So that was actually pretty good money. It was a lot better than working like in a fast food thing and things like that. And mind you, you know, I was 16, 17 years old. So I worked there and I actually liked that job. And I did it, you know, on the weekends and sometimes during the week after my regular schooling hours. After school type thing, so you know I had a little bit of money in my pocket during that week, so it was pretty cool for like a part-time job, you know, pretty much making just as much as money for a few days than what somebody was getting minimum wage at that time, working, you know, a full 40-hour week. So it was pretty good. So we're gonna keep going with this couple. Stream right now is at 1 hour and 42 minutes. So let's go.
You know that list every couple makes of people they're allowed to sleep with if they ever get the chance to without it being considered cheating?
Yeah, which isn't really fair because I don't sleep with anyone and she knows that.
Well, I've been trying to change that for the past 2 years.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get into heaven, so.
Really? Well, I've been trying to get him into heaven for the last 2 years with no luck.
Well, aren't you supposed to be only putting famous people on your list who you don't know?
Well, I didn't know him when I made the list. I just so happened to meet him a year later.
Convenient.
Besides, I saw put my sister on his list.
That was meant as a compliment alone, okay? She knows that I would never sleep with anyone besides Becca.
Yeah, my sister did not take it as a compliment, and she's still kind of mad about it.
So far, seems like they don't even know each other. It's almost like trust issues is going to occur eventually later, and like what I said, they got married in Vegas. And she already put the whole thing of saying, if it doesn't work out, then I'll still keep my last name type thing. Already a red flag. Keeping last name, since we were talking about that.
It doesn't bother me. If she wants to keep her own last name to help her career, I'm in full support.
Todd's actually thinking about taking my last name. That way, if we ever adopt children, we won't have to explain why we have different last names.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could do that. That's weird. Okay, so we're finishing up this weird ass couple, and then I don't know if it's gonna go to another segment from here or what, but I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a leak. Back soon. Live screen, and we're back. Let's go. Sister adopt parents' apartment building. Let's talk about her parents' apartment building. She's from a law firm. Her people is from a law firm. Own a law firm.
My parents own a small apartment building on the Upper East Side. They let me live there rent-free. I just pay for utilities. Todd's going to move in with me once we're married. Apricot's going to have to move out, but it's totally going to be worth it.
Apricot. Right. Apricot.
My puppy. Her name's Apricot.
Son of a...
Unfortunately, Todd is severely allergic to dogs, so she can't be living with us. But I'm sure it won't be hard to find someone who wants to adopt an adorable little teacup Pomeranian. I'll miss her, though.
Yeah. You know, I really don't like a whole lot of people who have, like, pets in the house. Mainly cats. It's horrible. It's hard to maintain, you know. And, not allergic or nothing, but, you know, this guy's allergic, so, you know, for a dog or whatnot, you know, you would think that would be a deal breaker with Becca. Obviously, she don't give a shit about that dog. Let's go to the adopt question.
Yeah, Becca here loves the idea of adopting children.
Also, we can't really have children of our own because Todd's been sterile ever since his motorcycle accident.
I knew it.
My accident was cool.
Oh, yeah. They're getting a divorce quick. Yeah, this guy has all kinds of issues here. Okay, let's go.
My little sister Rachel, she's so competitive. It's kind of annoying. So I was kind of a prodigy in middle school, so I skipped a grade, and then she skipped 2 grades, and then I graduated 5th in my class at Harvard, so she graduated 4th. It's like her only goal in life is to be just marginally better than me at everything she does.
The two of them have been at it since they were very young. Everything is a competition between them.
Yeah, competition, I rarely win. But luckily she did not go into the legal field. She took the easy route. Medicine. I'm kidding. No, if she had joined the family firm, I'm sure she would have been made partner 2 years before me, despite being 2 years younger, but it's fine.
Yeah, let's ask about his motorcycle accident.
His friend Greg jumped over a bunch of people on his motorcycle trying to make a viral video. So Todd and all these guys, they were laid down head to toe leading up to the ramp. And Greg almost made it, but his back tire came down right between Todd's legs.
We don't need to describe every detail.
Oh, right. I actually have it on video if you want me to send it to you.
That's
Yeah, fuck it, send it.
Yeah. Greg is my best friend. He's a great guy. He's a guitar player.
No, he's hilarious. He does this bit every time I see him.
Fucking knew it.
He tries to convince
This
me
bitch
to
is a hoe.
jump Todd and go out with him.
Becca's a hoe.
It's so funny. It sounds a little mean, but it's obviously a joke. He does it right in front of Todd. So, I promise you, it's very funny. Maybe you have to be there.
It's not that funny.
No, it's very funny.
Not that funny.
Yeah, Todd's a weenie. The fuck happened? Did this thing freeze on me? I think it froze. No fucking way. This thing froze on me. Continue. Yeah, this thing froze on me. And earlier, before I went online, when I started it up, it crashed. So that's definitely a point down for this game. Let's see what happens if I restart it. Close game. See if it brings us back to where we were at. And this was made with Unity. Pretty impressive. As far as like, you know, putting everything together. I mean, of course, it's all video clips and shit, but I can't even push start to skip all this shit. Okay. Sarah isn't Walter's daughter. She's his wife. So is Alice. Right. Wealthy man. Yeah, so I think we're good. Third date. You see, but it did skip. It did skip what we asked earlier. Okay, let's go.
We streamed The Notebook at my place. All my past boyfriends had refused to watch it with me. Todd not only agreed, but he cried multiple times while watching it. I knew right then if he ever proposed to me, I'd have to say yes.
Oh, there were a lot of them. Am I right?
They were all so full of themselves. They were either rich or famous, or both rich and famous. The worst combination. That doesn't impress me.
They weren't as great as they sound. Okay.
No, some were actually very cool. But I don't really talk to them anymore. Todd gets a little jealous when I do. But Todd hangs out with all of his ex-girlfriends, except Lily, of course. But, you know, I'm not really worried about them. You know, if he's not sleeping with me, he's definitely not sleeping with them, so.
Fucking weirdos.
We had one in our house when we were growing up, and I actually didn't have any interest in playing it, but I learned it because it was there. So.
He's kind of shy about performing in front of other people. I totally used to be the same way when performing gymnastics.
So remember, this interview is for a book.
He was promising he'll play it for me, but he never.
They don't know that they're actually being interviewed
Birthday, and I will.
to inherit
My birthday was 3 days ago.
a hotel/casino.
Holding you to it.
Okay. Oh, Lily, she was just the worst. I wasted 6 months of my life dating her, and that is all that needs to be said.
She used to physically abuse Todd. I'm so proud of him for breaking up with her. Even more for talking about it.
It's not really what she makes it sound like. She doesn't know the whole picture.
I mean, Todd could have easily defended himself. But the thing about Todd is he would never hit a woman. Ever.
Well, no real man ever would.
Especially Lily. I mean, I don't think I could hit a 95-pound elderly woman either.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I used to date this famous singer. I'm not going to name drop because that's gauche, but you definitely know who he is.
A lot of women have been with musicians, and to be honest with you, we all know that musicians are not one-woman men.
It was actually pretty serious between us. I mean, he asked me to move in with him. I met his parents. It's kind of the real deal.
Oh, well, guess he was a good one, but I feel bad for her because he broke up with her.
Actually, I never told Todd this, but I was still with the singer when I met him. I didn't break up with the singer until we became official. It's crazy to think, if I hadn't met Todd when I did, I totally could have been married to the wrong person right now.
So, you cheated on him with me.
That's why I never told you this.
You see, that in itself tells you exactly what type of person she is. You know, I done seen a whole bunch of females like that and get attached to the next one super, super quick. But it's really that you just got that dude on the rebound and you're so desperately trying to get away from the memories in the past that you get somebody like this fucking weenie and you're just trying to get away with it and trying to move on and not remember the fucked up shit that you did. Becca. That's what it is. And that in itself is not trustworthy. Now, could we say maybe it was the dude in her past relationship that had the issue? Or maybe the last dude that she was with before this weenie did the same thing. So this is just a cycle with her. There's not enough detail to pass clear judgment, but we definitely have somebody here who will drop something, not try to make it work, not try to figure it out, but go to the next thing super quick, super fast, without slowing down and taking time for yourself and seeing what the issue is. And like what he said, Todd earlier had said that she had a lot of partners. So when we put these two things together, or the things that they're not telling us, we could fill in the void. She's out.
Todd's proposal was the most unique one I ever had.
How many people have proposed to you before me?
You were the fourth. I told you this. Oh, the first guy was at the Eiffel Tower. Oh, so cliche.
Going
Second
over some of
guy
these
with
notes.
The whole, wedding ring at the bottom of a champagne flute at the 5-star restaurant on Valentine's Day. We've all seen it.
Yeah, these guys have no originality.
The third guy was the worst. He had the proposal up on the Jumbotron at a basketball game.
Yeah.
Like, how was that supposed to impress me? He literally owned the basketball team. He could make it say anything he wanted. That sort of stuff, it doesn't go far with me.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just the lucky one. What's the next question?
Yeah, nah, you ain't the lucky one. You're just a sucker. And she's gonna leave your ass too.
Okay, so Todd was helping me lose weight at the time.
She asked me to help.
And, you know, I'd asked this of other boyfriends before, and they always dismissed me. They were like, "Hun, you're perfect as you are." And I was like, I don't want you dismissing me. If something's important to me, I want my boyfriend to take it seriously.
Again, I was just trying to help. That's all I was.
Oh, he did more than that. He tracked my weight loss. He kept a log of everything I was eating. I mean, it was like having my own personal trainer at home.
Yeah, it was, she laid out everything she wanted me to do. I just did what she asked me to.
And there was like this stubborn last few pounds I just could not seem to get off no matter what. So Todd told me he would marry me if I hit my target weight. And that was all the incentive I needed. I shed those last 3 pounds. Stat. I lost it so fast he didn't even have time to save up for the ring.
Well, I thought I was going to have more time.
I literally just didn't eat for 4 days. It was all the motivation I needed.
Yeah, nah, she's super stupid. And sounds like she has anorexic issues. Possibly on pills. Depressants, and so is he. And that is why they are such a great couple right now. You don't eat 4 days. Somebody gives you a challenge like that, you don't. It's just stupid. And you know, it's crazy because, you know, I ran into these type of people before. Here we go, the ring.
We just decided to skip the whole engagement ring thing and the wedding band thing. It's such an outdated concept. Plus, Todd thinks it's a waste of money.
Well, engagement rings are a scam. There's a great Adam Ruins Everything video about that, actually.
Yeah, plus I deal with a lot of high-profile clients at work, so...
Nah, it's just because you're broke.
It have to be huge, something that Todd couldn't afford, really. I know that sounds shallow, but, you know, people really do judge you for the clarity and size of your diamonds, so yeah, it's best I just don't have one at all.
Only the people that you kick it with. Only the people that you fuck with. That's what it is. And she was around a lot of these other people, so like, you know, she don't want to look stupid. High profile clients. I didn't even read that. I just read it.
Our firm represents a number of well-known clientele. I'm not really at liberty to name names, but there's a few athletes and politicians who you might have heard of.
You know, I was actually an athlete. I was the star player on my high school football team. And I would have gone pro. Everyone would know my name, but I had a knee injury. So. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at him. He would have totally made the NFL had it not been for the injury. I mean, once he kicked a 20-yard field goal in a high school game, like, that is extremely unheard of, from what I understand. I almost went pro in gymnastics, but that didn't work out for me either.
So obviously they don't know shit. This is a dingbat couple. Both of them dingbats. I think I'm done with these people. They're done. They're bullshitters. There we go.
Well, I did not see that coming. I mean,
This is the guy that's terminally ill.
Well, she seemed like such a sweet, wholesome girl. I had no idea she was married to an older man who already had a wife. I don't know what to think about that.
Damn, so we need to keep talking to these motherfuckers in order to go back to the boss and ask the boss what he thinks. So let's continue with them.
When I was very little, I trained under the famous Italian gymnastics coach, Sergio Endolini. My parents were convinced I was going to make it to the Olympics. I had the leotard and...
That's enough. Sergio Endolini isn't a real person, all right? We're not married.
Wow.
The only reason I said we were married is because I wanted to get a free room upgrade at the hotel.
As you can tell, he's a cheapskate.
Wow.
Well, as you can tell, she is a hooker.
Okay, I'm not a hooker. I'm a sex worker. And we didn't even have sex because you were busy crying the whole time.
Not
so.
true.
You see?
Not true. Not true.
Wow.
It is kind of true. The only reason I'm still sitting next to this person is because I wanted to be paid for this book. So, and now you've ruined it.
Oh,
thank you.
I ruined it.
Yeah,
You're
did.
the one who made me look like a complete loser.
He kind of is.
You know what? I'm sorry for wasting your time. Goodbye.
Can I still get paid?
Let's see what homeboy got to say.
Well, that's disappointing. I guess there's no reason to consider them as potential heirs anymore.
Yeah, so far I said the people that were gone was the polygamous family, and then I said Becca is gone before we actually got the question for Davenport. The only other one, and for some reason I think Ashley and Mallory is going to be the ones if something else happens here, but let's see. You know, they say never trust or never judge a book by its cover. This girl got never trust the living, it says. And then you have Mallory, who just seems totally lost. But when I was viewing Mallory, I never said gone to her. But I did say gone to Ashley. So let's talk to Ashley a little more.
There are people who talk all the time, even when they have nothing to say. If you have nothing to say besides hello or hi, why talk? I really don't enjoy misguided politeness.
Misguided politeness is something that I have an issue with, especially within the workplace, where people say hello, hi, good morning very easily, and just like as more of a thing to do instead of being sincere about saying good morning. I like how she put misguided politeness. You know, they don't really want to know how was your weekend. They really don't want to know how are you. They're just doing it just to strike up a conversation, and we go along with this misguided politeness because sometimes it comes from the people that is higher up. And so we think that's just part of the game, and we just follow along with it. I mean, if your boss or somebody, some other boss came up to you and said, hey, good morning, what are you going to say? Fuck you. This is the type of person she is. She don't give a fuck. So it seems like she's very straightforward and serious, but she has an attitude about it. So let's see here.
It's like when someone tries to do something nice, but it has the opposite effect. Like you're walking towards a door, and you're too far away, but someone decides to hold it open for you anyway. So then you have to rush to get through the door so they don't awkwardly stand there holding it. Do you know what's easier than rushing through a parking lot to get through a door? Opening it yourself when you're there.
Yeah, definitely. So it seems like she's upset about the bullshit of the way people act, or the way people carry themselves, the way people do things, not for being nice, but they're doing it, you know, either doing it because they may think that it's the right thing to do, or they're doing it because they're trying to look or kind of, you know, portray this type of character within them that's really not there. They're not doing it out of politeness, but they're doing it as like a show-off type thing, if you will, you know, or an opportunity to try to talk to you type thing, you know. And especially if you're far away from the door, then, you know, that kind of makes sense. She mentioned dating apps earlier, so let's see what she says.
I don't particularly like any of the dating apps out there right now. They're all designed to let you chat with the person before you meet them. If you chat with the person before you meet them, then you find out how horrible they are and you don't want to meet them. Then you don't even get the social rewards of having gone on a date. You know what I want? I want a dating app where you don't ever have to go on a date, where when you match with a likely candidate, the app takes the photos that you've each submitted and places them in a likely dating scenario. Then it returns the photo to you. You can put that photo on your social media platforms, and it looks like you've been on a date, and you've never had to go on a date. Everybody wins.
Yeah, that's a little too far out. I get the idea of it, but that's kind of stupid. You shouldn't be on dating apps anyway. You know, you should go to functions where you know people's gonna be at and things like that. And not only that, you shouldn't be looking for it. You should just be out there having fun, doing what you do that you like. And if you see somebody attractive or somebody that you know or whatever it is, then you could make your move. I think a lot of people kind of are scared of doing that now in these days because a dating app is a lot easier. Because, you know, you could get your catfish photos, put them up there and string somebody along emotionally and all this shit and try to build an attachment for months or weeks, whatever it may be, or even days before you actually go out and you go out with them. You end up finding out that he ain't the one after he done fucked you. And so, you know, it doesn't end up working out. And it's because you're on a dating app. You know, they have the next girl that probably is a little bit better than you. And the girl has the next dude that's just about a little bit better than you too. That's the issue. But it never works. Almost like polygamy. There's certain things, you know, the stars need to align. You know, you gotta do specific special shit like stick out your tongue, you know, touch your nose with your right hand and stick out your left leg, you know, and bounce, you know, all at the same time for things to work out in that type of scenario or in that type of situation. It takes some special shit with dating apps for something to work. And dating apps is just bad. Very bad. Let me see if this works real quick. And that was just a geology moment. Dating apps is just horrible. Horrible. You know, I've done them. I've met a lot of good people on there, but a lot of people with a lot of bad problems or bad experiences. So, you know, there's sometimes, you know, you see those red flags and you got to get away from it. So, one of the main reasons why I like this is because it gives you a lot of content to talk about. So I think I'm going to be doing a couple of more of these video games. I might just buy the next one, the one that I was showing earlier. It was released for PS4, so I think it was like in 2020 or something. So let's go. Let's keep going with this.
Everyone talks about selfishness like it's some sort of sin. Selfishness is necessary. Everyone wants good-paying jobs. Want them to be in our country and not another country. That's selfish. Everyone wants those good-paying jobs to be in our city, not another city. That's selfish. I want those good-paying jobs to be mine, not someone else's. That's selfish. Selfishness is necessary for us to survive.
I wouldn't necessarily say that selfishness is something to survive. I would say that, you know, number one, when you're dealing with selfishness, you have to have that type of selfishness in order to love yourself first. You see, that's one of the things that I always tell people is that before you try to help somebody or before you can love somebody else, you need to love yourself and accept yourself. And some have said that that is selfishness. And I had said, in general, it may be defined that way. But the ultimate definition is really loving yourself. It's more of an expression of self-love. Because we have to remember that you can't love somebody else unless you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how could you love somebody else? That's a complete deception. And that's why your relationships and other things around you never work. You have to love yourself in order to help and love everybody else. When you do that, there will not be no selfishness happening after that. Let's go. Darwin Award. She had mentioned this earlier.
You've never heard of the Darwin Awards? They're my favorite. They're named for Charles
take it easy.
Darwin, based around his survival of the fittest and genetics and stuff. So, whenever someone dies doing something that is so stupid, they do the human race a favor by draining themselves out of the gene pool, they get a Darwin Award.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love watching them on the internet, but now really it's just fails. They aren't legitimate Darwin Awards. So I watch a lot of roller coaster disasters instead. They're great too.
Yeah, she's a little, she's something else.
Oh, it's understandable if you didn't know that I had my own magic act. I'm not on any of the posters. I used to be. But I learned early on that audiences expect a magician to be male. So I hired a male presenting actor as the magician. I started working as the assistant. But ticket sales, foomp, shot way up.
Yeah.
Oh, we promote it like it's his show, but he's essentially worthless. He doesn't do much of anything. I've actually
She has
the actor
very
who
good
played the
points.
magician 3 times. Audiences never noticed.
But I think
Fine, as long as there's someone on stage who looks like they expect a magician to look.
she could get over her head a little bit, though.
For some reason, a goatee is mandatory.
She could get over her head a little bit, I think.
I'm not mad about it. My act has actually gotten a lot easier since I started working as an assistant and not the magician. I'll let you in on a little secret. The assistants are actually the ones who perform all the tricks in a magic act. The magician really is just there so that people have something to keep their eyes on. They're going to watch him, see if they can figure out the trick, see if he's doing anything sneaky. Everyone really just ignores the girls in the shiny outfits. But we're the ones making the tricks work. Now, magic is all about misdirection. The magician is the biggest misdirection of all.
Misdirection.
You can get away with anything as long as someone's attention is focused on something else. That's the key to all of magic, half of life. Everyone knows it. Nobody cares. Back when I really was an assistant, I worked for a magician, the great Zambini. He based his signature trick on this very thing. See, we were part of a traveling carnival, and our stage was outdoors. At the beginning of the night, the back of the stage, a Zamboni was parked. It was the Zamboni. And he would tell the audience that at some point during the evening he was going to make the Zamboni disappear and no one would notice. So about halfway through the evening, we would have this assistant come out that the audience had not yet seen. Her name was Kelly. She was particularly alluring. And the other assistants and I would help her up on top of a platform, and we would begin tying her up with scarves. We'd really take our time about it, make it very erotic, and Kelly would wiggle and pout and make these cute little
This girl's too much.
squeaky gerbil noises. While this was happening, Zambini would pull out his keys and drive the Zamboni off stage. Then he'd run back. We would make Kelly disappear in a fairly standard trick, and when it was done, Zambini would be standing where the Zamboni was with his arms outstretched, like he had just accomplished the most amazing feat in the world. And the audience loved it. They would clap like it was the best thing ever. It was grotesquely sexist, but it worked.
So she has an understanding of what and how to make things work, so she's good. But sometimes I think, like, with these type of people, they're kind of like, they could go over their head sometimes, meaning that their judgment, even though that they was right in one aspect, they may not be totally right in the next aspect. And the thing is that people make mistakes, even in business. And but you got to understand too is that the whole premise here is that they think that they are being interviewed to be in a book. So they're very, very freely with a lot of these type of things and what they're saying, but these are their true characters. So you got to pick who has the best characteristics. Let's go.
I haven't talked to her since we worked together. I'm sure she's doing fine. Supremely attractive people have it very easy. I'm sure she married rich or got kidnapped by human traffickers and sold on the black market. Either way, she's living in a big house with someone else paying all the bills. She's great.
All right. Traveling carnival.
When you're starting out in this industry, you will take anything you can get. It was rough. I was on the road for 6 months. Before that, I was an assistant to a comedy magician. That was even worse. I'd still take that over any normal job. Oh, comedy magicians. Awful. None of it's real magic. It's all just jokes. I don't have any jokes in my act. Well, I have one, but I don't do it every night. I just save it for when I have a heckler.
What is considered normal jobs?
I've tried working normal jobs, but they all have the same problem. You have to deal with annoying people. You're not allowed to hurt them. I worked in a call center once. That wasn't too bad. And you couldn't touch the people to hurt them, but we were given scripts, which I'm sure were designed to emotionally torture whoever we talked to. The sadists that wrote them were really good at their jobs, too. Yeah. Oh, and there was this computer system
Sadist.
they had to navigate.
That's the
they
word.
were never even allowed to connect with us. Did a great job of wearing down their will to live. By the time they got to us, hanging on by a thread. Yeah, that was nice.
A sadist is a person who derives pleasure, especially sexual gratification. So I don't know why in the hell she was using that word, from inflicting pain or humiliation on others. So this has to deal with the word has to deal with a sexual act. A person who derives pleasure, especially sexual gratification, especially, but it doesn't mean that it has to be that. Either way, I don't think that's the word that she should have used. Maybe she's that person. I think. Overall, this girl's weird, man. She's super weird, and we're just getting more questions about all this other shit, about her story and things. And I just don't like. I don't feel comfortable. Like if I had to do business with this girl, I just wouldn't feel comfortable. I am starting, as of right now, after 2 hours and 20 minutes listening to this, I am going with Mallory. I thought one was gonna be better than the other. All of them is fucked up. But if I had to pick one, I would have to go with Mallory, and then kind of coach her and teach her. That's the other thing that you got to think about when you look at these people, and they all have problems. Everybody has problems, right? So, but you got to see who was the most coachable. You think this bitch right here is gonna be coachable? Fuck no. She's going to think that you have some type of conspiracy brewing in the background. The Utah folks, you know, their issue is just too much. That shit's going to blow up, and it's going to be a problem, and you don't want that at work. And then, you know, Becca, we already know that she's a hoe. And the dude is not even married to her. They was just in there trying to manipulate the whole interview. So, you know, that's what you have here. So, let's go back. We're going to stop talking to Ashley for a minute, because she's actually fucking annoying the shit out of me. And let's ask Mallory about wealthy men.
Oh, he was a rich person just like you'd see in the movies. I mean, he had a 3-piece suit on with a jacket and a matching vest and everything.
I got
His
a 3-piece
car had a
suit.
hood ornament on it, and he even had brown socks.
But
to
I'm
match
not rich.
his brown shoes. I wouldn't know what to do with that kind of money.
Modelo
the
rich.
first thing I might do would be to buy a monocle, though.
Monocle.
I've wanted a monocle my whole life. I've had really bad vision in one of my eyes since I was a little girl. This one time I found a pair of glasses that had a missing
monocle?
lens. But
Oh, a monocle is that
have
one thing
very
like
close to my vision
the
needs.
one that
So I had that. It was perfect.
that dude from Monopoly
Almost
wears,
perfect.
right?
The lens was on the wrong side, so I did have to wear them upside down. Eventually, I tried to take the lens out and put it in the correct side, but when I did,
monocle.
the lens cracked and I couldn't wear them anymore.
You know, that's pretty interesting. Like, you know, there's a lot of certain type of like words and shit that you forget about. There's monocle. I totally forgot about that. We're gonna try something real quick. I want to see if I could get this in there real quick. I mean, a lot of people will be like, a lot of people will say, oh, you know, how don't you know? You know, it's a monocle or whatever. But I'm not doing it because I don't know what the fuck a monocle is. Well, I really didn't. But I'm not doing it because, you know, I didn't know. But it sounded very, very similar. I mean, not similar, but familiar. It sounded very, very familiar. And then before I researched it, I was like, what the fuck is a monocle? So she's all into this dude that has a monocle. And so right now I just did the transition here. And that's a monocle. Just pull it up from you know, the images on Google. I don't even think I got the fucking spelling right. But that don't matter. Don't look at that. Look at the monocle. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And I just wanted to do that to see if I could do it. And now I understand how to do those transitions like that in order to bring a couple of more information on these type of things. But yeah, so the last question for Mallory so far right now, unless it brings up 5 other fucking questions. Denver.
Well, I wasn't in Denver proper, but I was about half an hour away at this ski resort very close by. Anyway, I worked at the ski resort first as a ticket salesperson, but then I studied and worked really hard to become a ski instructor. But sadly,
that
like
didn't
all my
work.
jobs, it didn't last. The first time I took a group out to go skiing, I was supposed to bring them to an intermediate level hill, but unfortunately I read the color coding wrong and I brought them to an advanced hill. There's a huge difference between an intermediate hill and an advanced hill.
This girl's all fucked up.
I, of course, lost my job.
Yeah, I would think so, lady. Um, that's what it sounds like. You're always losing your fucking job, you know? Okay. All my jobs? Yeah, all my jobs.
Oh, I've done it all. I've delivered pizzas, I had an ice cream truck, I worked in a pet shop, I even worked on a cruise ship. I've had
How
some
about a
truly
casino?
wonderful jobs, but sadly nothing ever worked out.
So she definitely has experience in, what would you say that? A lot of interaction within marketing, but it's not good experience, it's bad experience. You know, who's to say that she may actually possess good marketing skills, good people skills, but the only reason why that it never happened with her is because the people that was around her that possibly threw her under the bus. So now we're going about to talk. So like what I said, we're about to start talking about each and every one of her jobs. Pizza delivery. Let's go.
I worked at a really fancy pizza place that had a big dining room and everything. It was great. Anyway, the owner, my boss, was trying to sell it, so the potential buyers were coming in to see it and to go over the books. The owner said that we had to look as busy as possible when they came in to make a good impression, so anytime there was extra space in any of the pizza ovens, we just started making cheese pizzas. I was given the cheese pizzas anytime I was making a delivery, and I was told that I needed to just throw them in the dumpster, but I felt really weird about doing that because the town had a lot of homeless people. So instead, I decided to do a good deed and pass them out to them instead. After the potential buyer had looked through the restaurant, he was being driven back by my boss to his hotel room, and on the way, I guess they saw about 20 homeless people with our very distinct pizza boxes. I don't know what he thought, but he didn't end up buying the place after all, and I lost my job.
So, you see, like what I said before, she's always trying to do a good deed or some shit, and she blames it on her good deed, and then says that, oh, well, because I was doing this, and then they got rid of me because I did that, you know. This is her story.
I got a job at a pet shop, but I only worked there a few weeks before I got fired, unfortunately. Before I worked there, I really didn't know anything about animals, so I did learn a lot on the job, thankfully. Anyway,
in 3 weeks?
My boss would have me open up, and then he'd come in a couple hours later, around noon. And one day, we got a hamster delivery, 2 hamsters.
Nobody cares about what time you're about. Yeah, you see.
Fish tank. The thing is, my boss didn't specify it was supposed to be an empty fish tank, so I put them in a fish tank that had fish and water in it. It also had a lid on the top. Anyway, the hamsters almost drowned, but thankfully we had this machine that was pumping air into the bottom of the tank, so the little guys were really smart and they took turns breathing out of the air hose.
That is just totally stupid, right? This is starting to get corny. Like, I think they could have made this dialogue a little better. That right there is unbelievable. You did not know that you shouldn't put a fuck. I'm not even going to repeat it. That's how fucking stupid it is. You guys heard it. Ice cream truck.
It was a dream of mine for a really long time to have my own ice cream truck. I love the idea of having my own business, being an entrepreneur, and selling wonderful sweet treats to people over jolly music. Anyway, it took a really long time, but eventually I did buy my own ice cream truck. Well, it wasn't actually an ice cream truck, it was an El Camino, and it had 2 freezers full of ice cream in the back, so anytime I wanted to sell ice cream, I'd just have to park and get out and go around back. It was great, and I'd still be doing it if I hadn't lost my license.
So then how did you lose your license? Oh my God, drinking and driving.
I wasn't just selling ice cream out of my El Camino. I was also living in it. The ice cream chests in the back were plugged into the cigarette lighter inverter, so the engine had to be running at all times so that the ice cream wouldn't melt. This made it really hard to sleep. Anyway, One night I had a few drinks and I was trying to sleep, and of course the engine was still running so that the ice cream wouldn't melt, and a policeman came over to see what was happening. I didn't know this, but you can actually get a DUI if you're drinking while your engine's on, even if you aren't moving. So I ended up being sent to prison.
For a DUI? You don't sound fucking right.
I actually got really lucky with my prison sentence. I was sentenced to 3 months in prison, but they let me out after 2. Also,
You
I was
don't
sent
get
in right before
months in
Christmas,
prison.
which
You
was
mean
great because on Christmas Day they gave everybody a delicious cinnamon bun. It was the best cinnamon bun
That's
I've
bullshit.
ever had. I guess sometimes Lady Luck is on my side.
Yeah, I don't think they send people to prison for 3 months. I don't know. Maybe I don't think so. You would have went to county jail, and then especially for a DUI. The fuck you talking about? I don't. Cinnamon bun? I don't know. You're probably talking about an eclair. I'm only saying I don't know. I don't know. I've never experienced it, but you might be talking about an eclair.
That was the most amazing job I've ever had. It was also the shortest. Unfortunately, the first time that we went out, we actually hit an iceberg and sank like the Titanic. Some of the lifeboats got destroyed, but most people were able to get on one. The rest of us had to survive by climbing onto the iceberg.
Yeah, iceberg.
After the ship sank, there were over 80 of us stranded on the iceberg, and we had no way to call for help, no food, no water. So out of desperation, we took off our clothes and we tried to form a sail out of them, hoping that we could ride the iceberg to shore.
Son of a...
The sail we made out of our clothes didn't end up working, and it didn't move the iceberg at all. Actually, after an hour, it just blew away in the wind anyway, so we were just left there half naked and freezing. Luckily, a cargo ship came upon us, and they were able to rescue us from the iceberg. But we didn't speak their language, and they didn't speak English, so we couldn't explain to them why we were all half naked on an iceberg. They dropped us off in Quebec after a very awkward trip.
Quebec?
I don't know what happened to the other survivors. When we got to Quebec, we all just separated. Hitchhiking back to the United States from Canada was really unpleasant.
Quebec,
Everyone
Quebec?
only spoke French, and I was still half naked. Luckily, someone did stop, and they had a pickup truck, so they let me sit in the back, and they stopped 20 miles from the New York border, which was great because I only had about a 6-hour walk back to the States. I know they say you shouldn't hitchhike because it's dangerous, but the thing is, I've had a lot of luck hitchhiking over the years. The first time that I hitchhiked, I was going from Detroit to Albuquerque, and these 3 really nice dudes in a hippie van picked me up. It turns out they were a traveling folk band, and they taught me how to drive so that I could drive down the highway while they were practicing in the back. It took a really long time to get to Albuquerque because they kept having to stop for shows, and we did have to camp in their van every night, but it was still great. You know, I've met my fair share of famous people over the year, but this was really cool because they were real musicians, and we got to get pretty close. Also, by the time we got to Albuquerque, I was so good at driving that I passed my driver's test the first time.
So, I don't know. All of them is whack. I wouldn't even pick not one of them.
I met Orville Redenbacher at the airport once. It was awesome. He was in line trying to get his luggage, and I thought, should I approach him or should I not? You know, I imagine a famous popcorn magnate like that is probably constantly having groups of people swarming him trying to get his autograph. But anyway, I decided to go for it. So I went up to him and I said, I love your popcorn commercials. And he was really flattered and turned out to be a super nice guy. He even signed my cast. Anyway, that was in 1997. I found out later that he had actually died in 1995, so it couldn't have been him, but it was a really nice old man, and it was still a really fond memory.
Oh, she just keeps
Oh,
going.
I wasn't at the airport to catch a flight. Sadly, I've been homeless a few times throughout my life, and one of the tricks that I picked up was that you can go to an airport and pretty easily find a place to sleep. I think they're used to having people who need to find a quiet spot because their flight is delayed or there's a long layover, so it doesn't look too weird if you find a spot and just sleep there. But there is a trick, and that's to not overstay your welcome. So after 7 or 8 hours, you got to get out of there. Also, you should never go back to the same airport twice unless a few years have passed. You know, I found a few creative places to sleep over the years. You just got to know the tricks.
This girl's a snoozer.
A lot of homeless people will choose gas stations and fast food restaurants to sleep at overnight, but I think that's actually a really bad idea because they're out in the open and the employees are probably going to have to kick them out. So when I was homeless, I always made sure to find a very hidden spot. So, for instance, I once worked at a fast food restaurant and I noticed that there was a ladder out back. So I climbed it and there was a beautiful roof that I could sleep in. Anyway, I slept there every night that I was working there and just made sure that no one saw me go up and no one saw me come down. So I had my smartphone, thankfully, to set an alarm to make sure that I'd be down in time and also get to work in time. It was working really well for a few months, but then eventually someone did see me go up on the roof. They figured out that I was sleeping there, and I did get fired, but, you know, I can't really blame them.
Yeah.
I always thought that smartphones were such a waste of money, but honestly, once someone told me about the food delivery services and how much money you can make doing those, I had to get one. And I'm glad I did. It worked really well for a few days when I had my car, but sadly, all those miles really wore it out, and I had to bring it into the shop, and I just couldn't afford the repairs. So I ended up just getting a bus pass, and that was how I was making my food delivery runs. Didn't work quite as well. Actually, sometimes I would have to transfer to multiple buses, so it ended up taking like an hour to deliver something. Eventually, I just kind of stopped doing it. I wasn't making any money.
Right. That's what happens. You know, it's basically a lot of poor people or people that think that it's just like a job that you could make a lot of good money, but you can't. It all depends on a few factors. The health of your car, what you're going to do if you do it long term, according to the health of your car by then, and whether you're going to do it full time or part time. You know, I've seen a couple of people that just did it part time after work just to get, you know, $200, you know, like on the weekend. Go out there and drive on the weekend. I'm going to pull in about like $200 real quick. And that's what they did. You know, $200, $200, $300, whatever. But like the full-time gig type thing, I don't know. You know, that's what it is. And then, I mean, but even when you think about it, the $200 for like the weekend driving and doing a few little drives here and there, how much are you really getting paid during that hour? You know. So it all depends. You really got to do the math and the time that you're putting in on the Uber or any of that.
Not to feed the animals.
You really got to look at it.
Really pay attention to those. I tripped over one, landed on the sidewalk, and broke my arm. It was okay though because I had an appointment at the hospital later that day anyway, so I just let myself fix my arm then.
What a fucking...
Oh, I've been to the hospital a lot.
Oh,
I tend to get hurt pretty easily. You know, I've had so many x-rays and
She's
MRIs.
a dingbat.
I'm surprised I don't have superpowers. I've broken a few bones over the years. I've been in all kinds of accidents. A hunting accident, a skydiving accident, normal stuff like that. I broke my leg hunting. I was sitting in a tree with my friend and we had a few drinks and she told a really funny joke. Anyway, I was laughing so hard that I lost my balance, and I actually fell out of the tree right on an 8-point buck. They still gave me credit for the kill.
Wow. Skydiving
When you see
accident.
people parachuting on TV and in movies, it seems like they're being gently lowered onto the ground like a feather. But I am here to tell you that is not the case. Even with the parachute, you're actually falling really fast, and impact can be really rough. I found that out the hard way. I was walking around and a skydiver landed right on top of me. Actually broke my arm in 2 places and gave me a concussion. I never saw the skydiver again, which is too bad because I'll never have a chance to thank them.
You see what I'm saying? She just has too many accidents. How do you get so many damn accidents? And how did you thank the skydiver, by the way?
Well, if it weren't for them landing on me, I wouldn't have gotten a concussion, so I wouldn't have gone to the hospital, and they wouldn't have given me an MRI, so I never would have found my brain tumor.
Son!
There's nothing they can do for me, but
God!
at least now I know I only have 3 or 4 months left to live, so I can start checking things off my bucket list.
Nobody is good. Now she's telling me that she's terminally, what do you call it? Terminally ill? Like, damn. You can't, nothing. Nothing, like, and I actually had a little bit of hope with her. Now she's terminally ill. Son of a bitch. Let's go talk to the boss over here. She has only a year or 2 years left. So that's going to leave us with this fucking crazy bitch. Which we still got to talk to her. And then, you know, the boss didn't really like the Mormon polygamous group. And then they're not even married, and they was just trying to get on the book signing and trying to be popular and shit. So they lied about the marriage, and this guy's a fucking weenie and possibly a future fucking active shooter. And Becca, you know, is a hoe. She actually is a hoe and a stripper and a sex worker out in the streets in Vegas. And this is what's happening. This is what's happening. So can't trust that. Can't trust that. Shit, I'm almost about to go with the Mormons now. I really wanted to fuck with her, but now, like, you can't even hire her because she's saying she only got 3 months to live, or what did it say, 3 years? She only has a year or 2 left, right? Now we got to think about this crazy bitch. Never trust the living is what it says on her shirt. And she goes a little bit over and above and beyond in the way that she thinks. And then look at her. She just looks like a fucking issue. Let's see what the boss got to say.
That poor woman never catches a break, does she? I don't suppose it would be logical to leave a hotel to someone who's not going to be alive much longer than I am.
So it's a hotel that we're doing. It's not a casino. I thought it was a casino. So now the only person that we need to wrap up is this girl. Annoying people.
Most people are annoying. Some people take it to a whole new level. Some people are professional at it. Like those people who work in lotion kiosks at the mall.
Lotion
They know
kiosks.
their product isn't any good. If it were any good, they would sell it in a store. But no, they're at a kiosk, harassing people who walk past until someone is so guilty that they can't just ignore them, and they stop. And then the lotion people start putting lotion on this poor chump. And it's awkward. And the person can't get away. And they massage them. And it's awkward. And the person can't get away. Until this poor, poor slob buys something that is unnecessary and overpriced just to make it stop. Whenever I see those people, and they've got someone in their clutches, I just walk up and I say, it puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
Mm-hmm.
They never seem to know how to respond to that.
Yeah, yeah, right now you forget about the, well, actually the lotion people are still out there. I think it's more of the people that want to clean your fucking shoes.
The fact that hecklers are still a thing is proof that society is a failure. I don't know why we still allow them to exist. I have a good way of dealing with them, though. Whenever we get a heckler that's too bad, I mean, it's really bad, I motion to the other assistants, and they notify the magician. And they invite the heckler up on stage to help us with our next act. So I bring out a specially made tall box, and the magician announces that he is going to make the heckler disappear. We put them in the box, we wrap the box up with chains, and we wheel it off stage. The audience loves it. They laugh, they clap, the heckler's never heard from again. Works great. Then backstage, I feed the heckler to my alligators. I don't.
Damn.
I don't have alligators. The box only opens one way. I push it up against an exit door, and when the heckler opens it, they can only leave. I've gotten exactly 2 negative Yelp reviews. Worth it.
This girl's crazy.
No one ever uses real magic in their magic act. It's all parlor tricks and very bendy assistants who can fit into small spaces. Machinery. Audiences just like to pretend it's real. If anybody ever came out and started performing sorcery or blood magic, the audience would lose their minds.
Oh, she likes the thought of that, right?
Nice.
Yeah. This bitch is fucking crazy, man.
Every aspect of our society has failed. Look at politics. We live in a democracy that is so divided, no matter who gets elected, half of the population is going to be miserable and angry. Families are divided. Lifelong friendships are torn apart. We are so at odds right now that left and right Twix don't even come in the same package anymore.
PS5 exclusive. PS5 exclusive. FMV full motion video experience. This is my first time actually playing one of these games, and so far it's a lot. We've been live for about 2 hours and 50 minutes, so we're reaching the 3-hour point. I know we probably have just a few more questions with her, and it may start another segment, but we're gonna see.
You can buy anything if you know where to look. I used to buy weed on the dark web before it was legal. I know there are people who buy fake IDs on the internet. Anything. You can find it.
Human traffickers.
They say human trafficking is a $150 billion a year industry, and I want to know how they know that. Are human traffickers reporting income tax, or are they just making up numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I never had a fake ID. I grew up in a small town. It would have been pointless. Everybody knew everybody else anyway. Really, the only reason to have a fake ID is so that you can buy beer before you're old enough. And I don't drink. I did buy a lot of beer for other kids when I was in high school, though. I mean, sort of. I would buy the non-alcoholic beer, and then I would peel the labels off, and I printed my own, put something, generic and fancy sounding. And then, during study hall, I would just sell it at a drastic markup. Nobody ever called me out on it. I don't think they ever figured it out. I even remember hearing some of the kids brag about how much beer they were able to consume. Oh, they must have been very shocked when they attended their first college party.
Wow. You little sneaky bitch.
Oh, I know weed is legal now, but back before it was, everybody would smoke it anyway. You know, it was just one of those crimes you never got in trouble for. Like speeding or practicing medicine without a license. The sale of human organs is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. And who do you think is taking those organs out of the people who lose them and putting them into the people who need them? I doubt it's someone practicing with a license. But I'm not doing it. I am not involved in that industry. I dabble in taxidermy, but I am not skilled enough to take a kidney out of someone and put it in someone else and have one of them live.
Taxidermy.
Taxidermy is a hobby of mine. Whenever I find a dead animal, I take it home and I stuff it. And then I save them, and when I have enough of them collected, I take them to dying children in the children's hospital. Because children love stuffed animals.
We're going to continue this right now. I'm just going to take out the webcam real quick.
I think everyone should have hobbies. I like taxidermy and sensory deprivation. I made my own sensory deprivation tank once. I like to lie in it and be alone with my thoughts. It's very peaceful in there. I slept in it once. It's like sleeping in a coffin. I like to visit kids in the cancer ward. Yeah, I ask them to draw me a picture, and then I trade them for one of the stuffed animals. It makes them feel better to barter. No one wants to be pitied, just given stuff, even kids dying of cancer. I save all the pictures they give me. They say that a piece of art at least doubles in value once the artist dies, and I'm sure their parents will pay top dollar in about a decade.
Yeah, so she's very, very long and drawn out with her type of issues. And I don't like her either, but we got to keep going.
People don't barter enough these days. They don't haggle enough either. For instance, if someone has a poster for a lost pet, and they offer a $100 reward. Now, in my experience, most people would just take the $100 and be happy. I try to haggle a little. I'll go for at least $150. I mean, no one posts their best offer on a flyer that's going on a telephone pole.
Mm-hmm. Lost pet.
Yeah. I return lost pets to their owners as a side hustle. See, whenever I see a flyer that has a reward offered and a phone number, I take it down. And then I post the flyer with my phone number, and I offer half the reward. Then someone else finds the pet, returns it to me. Then I do a nice little markup, call the original phone number, and reunite the pet with its parent for a profit. Does very well.
Sleeping in a coffin.
Have you ever tried sleeping in a coffin?
No, bitch.
It's relaxing. It's cozy. There's extra layers of noise insulation in case you have loud neighbors. I slept in one back when I had college roommates.
You went to college, huh?
Oh, I didn't actually go to college, but I lived in student housing after high school. See, you don't actually have to be a student to live there. I hated having roommates, but it's all I could afford. I bought my own place as soon as I could, but they kicked me out.
So, what do we have here? What's the next fucking question? High school. She is long drawn out.
It's awful. I mean, you undergo years of traumatic experiences, and then when you finally escape, they invite you back for a reunion so that you can go spend more time with the same people who made your childhood traumatic. I don't understand it. Do survivors of other traumatic experiences have reunions? I mean, do people who lived through a plane crash get together and reminisce about the turbulence they experienced before it all went pear-shaped?
Reunions.
I don't understand reunions or nostalgia in general. People cling to the past like it was the best part of their lives. But do you know what most people spent most of the past doing? Waiting for the future to come so their miserable lives would improve. Really makes no sense to me. I don't live in the past. I look to the future. I am so ready to be in the future. The second my contract is up, I am out of here. I am retiring to someplace very far away with very few people, and I am never going to think about Las Vegas again. Can't wait for that.
So that's...
Let's see what the future holds, because I'm done here.
So yeah, that's a big problem. I don't think he's gonna like that. So,
That's surprising. I would have thought she'd be more emotionally invested in the Bellflower after running her magic act here for so long. I guess I must have misjudged her.
yeah, and that's where we're at right now. Is that pretty much all these people that came in for this shit was pretty much well misjudged. I don't think nobody has anything. If I had to pick somebody, I think it was that girl Molly or Mallory, right? I think that's the only one. That's the only one. But she said, what she said? She got cancer. Or she's terminally ill with a tumor or something like that. Only got 2 months to live. You know. So what the hell do you do with that? You know. So this girl don't want to do nothing with Vegas. The last one, they was lying their ass off, you know, in the interview. And then, so we go back to the Mormon couple. The only thing with the Mormon couple is that they are too fake. But they don't have the issue of the other three. So we got to back it all back up. And you know what? The game didn't say that they were Mormon, so I'm going to take that back. They're just a polygamous family from Utah. That's it. So when you looked at all four, you're going to pick the liar? You're going to pick the person that's terminally ill? Or are you going to pick the person that doesn't want to even stay in Vegas? What are you going to do? You convince the person that doesn't want to stay in Vegas to stay in Vegas? Are you going to tell the person that's terminally ill, you know, we have this position for you and you could work it as long as you want? Or are we going to go with the lying couple and with the hoe, which is a street hooker that works out in the streets? I don't know. You know, but definitely here's the boss right here. What are you going to do with your hotel?
All four candidates have potential problems.
No shit.
Someone has to take over the hotel.
Wow.
I don't have any more potential heirs, and I've run out of time to keep searching. Now, you've spoken to all of them. Who do you recommend?
Wow, so he's going to tell me who do I recommend. So Ashley is fucked up. She doesn't even want to stay in Vegas. Mallory has a terminal issue. Terminal illness issue. Tumor. They only got 2 years to live or some shit. Sarah Goodley. Her parents are fucked up. Or not her parents, but the couple that she's involved in is fucked up, and she's fucked up as a person for going along with that. Probably very easily manipulated. And then Becca and Todd, they're not even a real couple. The whole interview, it was all a lie. And homeboy jumped up, bounced out, just to reveal that Becca is a hoe and a prostitute. As much shit that I talked about the Utah folks, I'm going to go with Ashley because she wanted to leave Vegas to see what the future holds. Well, stay here and make this your future. What do you think?
I'm looking for someone to take over the hotel. If she wants nothing to do with Vegas, she'll probably just sell it. And that defeats the purpose of me selecting her as an heir.
She's earned it more than anyone else. She wants to leave. And then you remember that Ashley was the one that actually spoke good about Davenport, which is this guy. So if she knows that it's coming from Davenport, she may accept and stay. She wants to leave Las Vegas because she has no reason to stay. I'm sure that will change if she inherited your hotel. You see what I mean? Ashley.
I hadn't thought about it that way. She might not feel a connection to this place right now, but once she becomes the owner, that may change. I'll have my lawyer put in a stipulation that if she inherits the Bellflower, she cannot sell it. Just
Right.
to be safe. Would you like to tell her? It only seems fair that you be the one to give her the good news.
Okay. So with that being done, we are going to do this and tell her tomorrow. I am going to save this progress. This stream was 3 hours. I want to go back and look at it and see exactly how many frame drops and how it's working, how the video is working, the audio input capture is working. And no, I don't want to become famous bird prop by buying followers. This is totally you know, me and normal, being normal and just playing. And you know, we get some people on here sometimes, you know, coming in and chilling in the chat. During the Ukraine issue, you know, we were streaming a lot of it on Facebook, and that picked up a lot of views, probably about like 2,000 views, and got 2,000 viewers on that. So geopolitical type issues like that may be something that I may continue to do, and then kind of gravitate people to come into these type of games like this, in order so then that way that they understand what geology is, what it's about. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of life within geopolitics, within gaming, and especially about God. So Geology Gaming Network is all about getting people together and exploring the video game industry, exploring especially these type of games now, you know, which is pretty interesting and something that we could talk about. And especially first-person shooters. I love first-person shooters myself, but you know, I think sometimes when you're doing it a little too much, you gotta look at other things and different avenues and different other games to, you know, explore, and not say like, oh no, I don't like that or nothing like that. You know, keep an open mind. That's one of the best things that you could do, is always keep an open mind. No matter what you do, keep an open mind. With that being said, I want to start this stream back up by accepting Ashley and telling her that she has been accepted into the role, and see what she says tomorrow. So we're gonna do that, and then right after that, tomorrow we're gonna be doing Returnal. How do I do new game? No. So we're gonna back out of this. Next, what we want to do tomorrow, Returnal. They say this is a very, very difficult game, you know, and I'm definitely interested to check it out. I think it came out 2021, and this should be really, really interesting. A lot of people played it and quit, and that's because in the very beginning when it came out, it didn't have no save points, so you had to start from the beginning at certain points. But they have changed that now, so it makes it a little easier to start from where you died or where you failed at. We're definitely going to be doing that, and we're definitely going to be doing Deathloop. The games that I have purchased pretty much on here so far on PS5 are all PS5 exclusives. The newer ones, Deathloop, we're going to be getting Forbidden West, but we're not going to get it digitally on here. We're going to get the physical, and we're going to get the digital within the physical collector's edition, and I'm going to want to be unboxing that. I'm going to be unboxing that, and that's going to be my first unbox for the PS5 category and things like that. There's a lot of other unboxing that I've done that is on YouTube, it's also on some of them are on Instagram, which is GGNgram. We're gonna get all these titles and links and websites and things like that a little bit more polished up and accurate. There has been a change in name, and right now it's GGN, and this has been happening since G-Pad Esports. We do compete competitively, and this since G-Pad Esports, the G has always stood for Geology. G-Pad Esports and Geology Gaming. Now it is Geology Gaming Network, and we're keeping the G in it. And the same thing, just like in this stream, it's always going to have the G. And if there's any other new updates, you can follow me at the new Twitter that's going to be built, and we're going to have a little title thing here so everybody can follow and start building up that awareness. And been gone for a little bit, but you know, we're back, and thank you for those that tuned in. We're going to continue this in the morning. All right. Good night. We will be be back.